Welcome to another version of Dudes After Dark. It's your host, Tony Lane, with Garage Beer. But you know what? We're all about layers of entertainment here on the Dude After Dark. Like I said, beer, barbecue, beards, bourbon, all the things. But don't worry, we got more layers than that. Did I mention we also do giveaways? Every month, all kinds of cool stuff. Sometimes even some Garage Beer merch. So tune in, enjoy the show. We love to have each and every one of you a part of us. Let's get after it, shall we? Dudes After Dark with Garage Beer. Cheers. Let's go. Lime. I got the Lime Dogs tonight. Let's go. Found a 15-pack down at my local Smokers Paradise. That was a good one. Don't worry, folks. Wasn't there for the smoking. I was there for the beer. They also sell liquor. So get off my lawn. All right, get off my lawn. So what's up, everybody? Month of giving for January. Troubadour Spice Blends is in effect. We're going to be drawing our winner soon. But per usual, brought to you by Garage Beer. Absolutely love this stuff. So jacked to have the lime. So this is what I'm going to be drinking tonight. But I got some regular ones over there in the fridge for the big game tomorrow. We're out Johnsy tonight. Shout out to Johnsy. Enjoying some good time. Matanza. 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 I'm all right. We're going to have Damon in to help me chant that one. That'll work. That dog will. Yep. There we go. Matanza. We'll make a note. Matanza chant. Dash. Yes. All right, cool. All right, so let's get to our co-host that we do have with us tonight, also our producer, the man that makes all the pretty cool things work on here happen, but also he's a three-time People's Champion of Florence, South Carolina. The man that puts beans in chili, and people say, God, you're a genius. But he's like, sorry, folks, I just use my brain. Common sense prevails. To a man that makes two of the best sauces I've ever had, I really wish one day it would end up on the market because I would buy it by the gallon. A man that wears his hat backwards, a man that's sipping on some of the new Chris Stapleton's Traveler's Bourbon. And we're going to have to get his review on that because we'll probably be talking about some bourbon tonight. And also we're going to be talking about some bourbon news here on the Dude Network tonight. The man, the myth, the legend, the South Kakalaki. Hang on. Nope. Nope. The man that's the Southern Smoke of Fried champion of South Kakalaki, the king of Florence, the prince of the Gamecock Palmetto State. A man that could probably turn a good barbecue out of a palm tree because he knows it all about barbecue. Damn it.
Bro. Hey, man. Hey.
What does palmetto wood burn like?
Very smoky.
That's good.
Like especially like the fronds that fall off. Like when they get dead and they fall off. Oh gosh, you can't burn them in a fire pit. They'll smoke up the whole neighborhood.
That's crazy. There must be a lot of moisture still in them things.
I don't know, but I throw them on the trailer. They go to the dump.
I don't know, but I've been told palmetto trees are full of mold.
That's right. Hey, they might be. They
Might be. Probably got some kind of insects down there. Some kind of like
probably does.
Some kind of like. I mean, you had the Savannah sand gnats down there. Probably them sand gnats.
That's what it is. Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean,
sure,
because we know we're qualified to talk about this.
That's right.
All right.
Sand gnats. They're terrible.
Hey, shout out to Johnsy. We're with you tonight, brother.
Hey, man. We'll hold it down for you.
Mm-hmm.
Butcher them hogs up.
Yeah, get some new stories for the next year. Get some new stories
right.
for the next year. Hey, Matanza. Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually.
Yeah. We're on page. Hopefully the Browns are on more page than that tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sure they will be because we should have rehearsed that a little bit beforehand.
It kind of happened organically during the introduction.
Yeah, it really did. It's okay.
But we do have a giveaway.
We do. We do have a giveaway.
And we got another one to give away tonight. So our guest in the back room, Blake, you need to come up with a hashtag. Forgot to tell you that. So get to thinking. Maybe like Lakeside Capital something. I don't know.
Prize.
Yeah, that'd be a great hashtag. So we had 17 entries last week, and I know more of you were watching than that. So, hey, if you don't want to win any, that's fine. That's fine. But, the more we get entries in here, the more it looks like we're providing some viewership here. So
That's right. So what are they winning tonight, though, Tony?
this is going to be a sampler 5-pack. So you're going to get 5 of, and I have a correction to make.
Uh-oh.
I said 18 lineups,
Yep.
18 seasonings. That was incorrect.
And
Kind of. He has 18 blends available in the 8-ounce shakers. Dude's got 30 4-ounce, 30 shakers. So this is for 5 of those. Pick 5 of your any. Good luck only finding 5, but it won't be hard to find 5.
Nah.
Damon, you have tried the seasoning now a little bit,
Yes,
right? You've
a
done
little
some
bit,
some raw testing.
raw testing out.
Which one did you did? The aviator wing dust. I know you got. Which 5 did you? I know you got like 4 or 5. Which 5 did you start out with?
Bruh, I can't remember. I know it's the West Coast blend, the aviator wing dust.
You got Korean. You got the Korean,
the Cuban, and
sweet and smoky.
Else.
Sweet and smoky.
Nah.
Applewood pork and poultry.
No.
I don't know. I rattled off. I just rattled off something for the Korean barbecue will change your life if you're looking for an Asian profile.
Yeah.
If you're trying to do like some Asian barbecue, man, that Korean barbecue is legit.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So 30. So you get 5 of those. You just tell me what 5 you want, and we'll get it shipped right to your doorstep. So let's pull that spinner up here and pick out last week's big winner.
Hey, here we go.
While we're spinning, the 8-ounce shakers are actually really fairly priced for something that's small batch residential. It's
who's it going to be? 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 Who's it going to be?
Eduardo.
Out to the West Coast.
Out to Arizona.
I
need to make a note. I still haven't sent him.
Uh-oh.
I haven't sent him the kids' books. Shit.
Well, there we go then.
I'm making a note.
Congrats, man. Congrats, Eduardo.
Congrats. You're going to get 2 things.
Yeah, 2. Hey, don't blame Tony. Tony's notorious. It's okay.
Yeah. I've been doing better. This first slip up. Now that I got a shipping station, you know.
You have been doing a little bit better.
Putting hat on backwards, man. All I got to say is go Browns. Brown and the elf. But I got to rock it. That shadow in my head was I was not feeling it. Talk about the giveaway here real quick that's going on, the month-long giveaway for the coal-fired wood pizza oven, and we do have more prizes to add to this, but we need some more entries. Here's how you enter. You buy any kind of product from TroubadourSpiceBlends.com. You can buy 1 shaker for, I think, as cheap as $6-7. I know 7, maybe 6. So, I mean, not even $10. You can get a great seasoning that supports a veteran-owned company. And that's good. You know, we test these things. Or a item from Garage Beer merch. And we might adjust the entries on that if you buy it, because it's a lot more pricey than the Troubadour. We have some entry now of the Garage Beer merch, but we already know who that is. So if we adjust it, we will. But at least for right now, it's 1 ticket per item at garagebeer.com in the merch. 1 blend from Troubadour Spice Blend, or 1 bottle of my Zesty Anything Bagel that you can get on redbeardseasonings.com or on Amazon. All you got to do is just buy one of those things, support our sponsors that support us, and then you go ahead and send me in my either Facebook Messenger, Twitter, or anywhere there's a message box. Get a hold of me, send me your receipt, show me how much you bought. I don't need to know how much you spent, but at least like blur that out.
Show the items.
And then when we get up to 10 tickets, we are going to add an extra prize. I don't want to say what it is, but it's something not barbecue. It's something not barbecue.
There you go. Don't tell them.
Yep. Yeah, we need a couple more entries from you guys. So help us out here. Get some good seasonings. The 4 ounces, it's a great way to test everything without committing to the 8-ounce bottles. But let's get to the show. I'm jacked, dude.
That's right.
I'm nervous as shit. Browns playoffs, like on the road tomorrow. Like, man, I've slaved over these tailgate dinners
it's been how long
for all season, man. And I'm like, son of a god, there's no way it could end like this tomorrow. No way.
Because it's been how long since the Browns been in the playoffs?
Since 2020. So this is
about 3 years.
It's our 3rd season.
2 years missing, and they're back now.
Yeah, we're 2 of the last 4 years running the playoffs, which for us, Pretty damn good.
There you go.
Pretty damn good. The guy, hey, our guest tonight had a big deal with that turnaround. I'm proud to say, big part of it. Probably huge, biggest part ever. But no, we got playoffs this weekend. Got some friends coming over tomorrow, so it's either we're gonna like cheer and have the best day of our lives and stay around and just drink a shit ton of beer all day tomorrow, celebrating the win, or everyone's gonna be about 7:00 going home, making questionable life choices of whether or not they want to beat their dog or not. Like,
and what time is this game?
4:30 Eastern time.
Okay, so nobody bothers Tony at all. No messages, no nothing from 4:00 until you hear something.
I mean, you can text me, but chances of me getting back with you slim to less than none.
Yep. Nope. One of us got fussed at the other week, a couple of weeks back. No.
Oh yeah, who was that tried to call me during the game?
I can't remember, but somebody got
Brad.
Yeah, it was Brad. That's what it was. It was Brad. Yep.
Redbeard Seasonings called me, and it was like fourth quarter. Like, we're getting ready to set up for the game win. I'm like, it's not a good time, Brad. Are you alive? He's like, sorry. And I was like, game time, bro. Click. Man. And then like a day later, I call. He's like, I didn't really need anything, so like, I'm like, I forgot to call you back. My bad, bro. But yeah, he found out. He stepped into the octagon.
That's it.
Make better life choices, folks. I don't know what to tell you. All right. The man here tonight is a legend in Cleveland, again, for the helping of the turnaround of the Cleveland Browns. Helped them go from the Cleveland Clowns to the Cleveland Browns. Sorry, I don't know why I said it with like a Yinzer accent. It was inappropriate. We deserve better. But once was the youngest, might still be, the youngest defensive coordinator in NFL history.
Okay.
When the Rams are in the great arch city of St. Louis, which I still don't know if it's in Kansas City or Missouri. Maybe he can help us out with that one because I'm torn. I don't know. I know they fight over it. But a man that now went from coaching players and athletes to coaching pros of finances, a small business connoisseur, a helper of people, a man that helps you reach your dreams in other ways now, like financial freedom. Blake Williams.
What's up, man?
Oh, dude.
Thank you guys. I swear the intros of every show, it just comedy in and of themselves. And
you thought it was good last time. He just got better this time.
I will tell you a little geography lesson. All right, Kansas City's a city. Missouri's a state.
What's St. Louis?
But St. Louis is in Missouri, but it's over by Illinois. It's on the Missouri-Illinois side.
Yeah.
Then Kansas City is on the total opposite side of the state, and the state line of Missouri and Kansas actually like runs through downtown Kansas City, right? So you got Kansas City, Kansas, and then you got Kansas City, Missouri. Kansas City is actually where I'm from. Like all my family, my aunts, uncles, cousins, they all still they're just getting crushed right now. It's like negative 30 degrees, wind chill, and all that snow, and it's crazy. I know.
Nope. Well, I don't know. I was out there. I was the idiot out there rolling smoke and all this weather here today, man. That was a rough day on the pit. It was a rough day on the pit. Sloshing around in mud, getting ice balls spit on you, 40-mile-an-hour winds. Yeah, okay. Well, Tony's done with geography. I don't think that's breaking news. I don't think we discovered anything new here on this show. We got to dig a little deeper than that, boys. Come on.
When you've lived as many, it's a nomadic profession in coaching. So when you've lived as many places as I have, like you become a geography buff whether you want to be or not.
Like West Virginia, man, Ohio, like I got you. I can. And actually, because of my job, like Michigan and Pennsylvania, I know a good bit. But yeah, man, when you get outside of Indiana, clueless. When you get like west of Indianapolis, like I'm done. Like I'm out. Like I didn't get out much. All right. So, how's the weather up there in Cleveland, man? Where are you at, on the east side or west side?
I would say technically south, right? So I'm in Berea, right? Berea, right there where the practice facility is. So right there where the airport is for people that ever fly into to Cleveland. That airport is right there. That airport, heck, you could walk to the Browns facility from the Cleveland Hopkins Airport. It's just right there. Probably less than a half a mile to the facility.
Okay.
Okay. Damn. I thought
But it's like it's nasty. It's nasty out tonight.
That's no counter.
But I was saying it's nasty out tonight. It's like 40 degrees and windy as hell and raining hard. But I'm sitting there thinking, like, literally just down I-90, it's like in Buffalo, it's 65-mile-an-hour winds and snow is supposed to snow a foot. They got the. I was in Buffalo at one point in time as well too. Bills and whatnot, and this is another one of those games where they're paying the fans, any fans that want to pay them $20 an hour to shovel snow out of the seats, out of the stadium, all night long. And hey, and you get whatever, $20 an hour and tickets to the game or whatever, So
Damn,
some of those crazy Bills Mafia fan love it when there's blizzards because they're like, hey, we'll drink and shovel snow all night long.
Right.
Beer money. Let's go.
Yep.
Hey, you got bamboozled on Twitter yesterday because you got me too about the game relocation.
Oh yeah, the fake thing. But I bet they're gonna wish it was yesterday.
Yeah,
I don't think it was fake. I think it was legitimately a discussion. I mean, the NFL always has plans like that, right? I mean, they always do. And so whether it be having to move it to a different day, but they'll never do that in the playoffs, But I guarantee you, it was one of those things like there was that strategy meeting that like the what ifs meeting, and somebody leaked it to somebody as if it was like actually in effect, right, like in whatnot, and they were trying to like reel it back in.
Okay, so okay. See, there's always, this is why we got these guys on. They know some stuff.
They can usually do that pretty quick. They usually have, like, most games they have a backup game, right? Like the way they even structure the stuff, like they'll know, like, hey, this game's being played in New Orleans. Like I've seen it before. This game's being played at New Orleans this weekend, but Indianapolis is playing on the road, right? Mm-hmm. And so like that particular week, like the New Orleans Saints is like backup away, backup home stadium would be going to Indianapolis, and then lo and behold, here comes a hurricane, and it's like, oh, the Saints pick up and go to Indianapolis or something like that,
Okay, man, that'd be, dude. I was like sitting there reading that, and I was like, it probably wouldn't be much of an advantage for Steelers because I know Cleveland fans. There's a bunch of them that didn't get to Houston. That bitch would have been sold out, booing them louder than they've ever been booed before. I was kind of hoping for it.
I was too. That's what I was saying. I was like, the Bills fans and the Browns fans could join forces to make the most hostile, home environment ever.
There was actually once upon a time when the Indians weren't able to open at Cleveland because there was like snow the first 2 weeks, and whoever the scheduling genius was like, oh, let's play the first 2 weeks in Cleveland in April. Mm-hmm. And so I remember they had to play 3-game series over in Milwaukee, and Milwaukee Brewers fans like sold out all 3 games, cheering on Cleveland like they was their team while they were all wearing their Brewers gear, and it was pretty badass. And actually, whenever the Brewers came out to Cleveland the next time, like, there was like a standing ovation to the team, like a tribute to them as like a thanks, like for what you did for us, because like they just were supposed to host to help us out, but yeah, they ended up. It's weird. It was snowing in Cleveland, but they were able to play in Milwaukee. But
I know that's what I was just thinking. I was like, but that's how the weather is crazy. I mean, it's like it's Antarctica and Kansas City right now, but it's 40 degrees and windy in Cleveland. But
so you were in the NFL for what, 11 years, 13?
Yeah, about 13 years, 15 years total in coaching. I spent
it was 13, 15.
A couple years in college in the middle of my coaching career.
Yeah. Okay. So were you ever in a situation where some wild stuff happened, like a hurricane reschedule, where you guys are in the middle of planning a week, and then you guys had to like load up the team buses, find hotels, leave your families hanging out while in the hurricane or something like that? Did that ever happen?
Yeah, I mean, I had some of those things. Probably the most disruptive from that standpoint, from natural disaster that I can think of. Like there was always like those threats and whatnot, but when I was coaching at the Jaguars, and this was actually in preseason, a really slow moving. It was like a category 1, but still, it was like moving at 5 miles an hour. So it was kind of bad because it was just not moving, right? So it just kind of came in and just set, so it just dumped so much water, in the constant winds that it kind of flooded. But luckily we were playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and so the other side of the state and south, and it was kind of moving up the coast, up towards probably like Damon. And so but we couldn't fly or anything like that. So we had to we were at the stadium. We had to scramble, get outside, get charter buses to come in. Luckily we're on charter buses because by the time we were driving out of the stadium, we were driving through 4 foot of flood water, out of the stadium parking lot. And we just drove to Tampa early, a day or so early or whatever, and played the preseason game. And by the time we got back, but that was probably the most disruptive from a natural disaster, that I had.
I was trying to remember the name of that storm. I know the one you're talking about, but I was trying to remember. You're right. It just put it on the coast.
But I coached with a couple guys, and coached a couple guys at the Saints that were holdovers from Katrina, right? And so Sean Payton came in after Katrina, and we came in after Katrina. But there was a couple young coaches and a couple players that were still on the squad from that pre-Katrina, right? And they got uprooted for an entire year, right? They literally had to go to San Antonio, and they're and they're playing in the Alamo Dome, and they're playing.
Is that where they played? I do not remember this.
They played at the Alamo Dome, and they were in trailers, temporary buildings and whatnot. And the reason is because Mr. Benson, Tom Benson, lived in San Antonio, or he had a whole bunch of property and businesses and stuff like that in San Antonio, even though he's from New Orleans. And he was going to, because New Orleans was devastated and the Saints were bad, right? So
they were not. It was not a good time to be.
And so he was going to move the team to San Antonio, there during Katrina, and it was a bad thing. The NFL was this is a bad look, abandoning the region. People were up in arms about it, and stuff like that. And so they came, when FEMA finally came in and fixed some stuff up, the government made some advantageous tax credits and stuff like that and everything. Build the stadium, gave Mr. Benson a big I don't know, 30-story tower right next door to they owned it, and they were in either government rented it out as government offices for a premium or whatever, essentially making it right in the same state, right? And luckily they got Sean Payton, they got Drew Brees, they got us on defense, and went and won a Super Bowl. But yeah, I don't know. The San Antonio Saints.
Dude, that was
that'd have been crazy.
I don't remember that at all. Yeah. That's crazy. That's random trivia, to have in your brain for trivia night. Damon, what you got, man?
No, I was gonna let you feed off of what you was feeding off, or what you were talking about earlier with all the lakefront stuff.
Yeah, not lakeside. I that's my fault, man. I think every damn time I say it's lakefront, lake
capital.
Front. Yeah, because
lakefront capital. It is lakeside though. It's
and that's where
it's right on Lake Erie. Yep.
Because it's I know it's up there in Cleveland, and I just think lakeside, not lakefront. Because I'm a hick. What can I say? Hey, by the way, we need a hashtag for tonight before we get into the lakefront capital. What you're into now talk, and I actually got a good question for you pertaining to some lakefront capital know-how. But what's going to be our hashtag tonight for our this week's 5-pack of Troubadour Spice Blends? You can get 5 of 30 spices at TroubadourSpiceBlends.com. What are we going with, Blake?
A hashtag for Troubadour spices.
It can be anything.
Let's go Georgia Strait.
Dude, that is so random. I love
The
it.
Troubadour. The Troubadour.
One word.
The young troubadour.
Troubadour.
I don't know the rest of the word, but that's George Strait's the king of country, and
I'll be
y'all
an
can.
old troubadour when I'm gone.
Yeah, I'll be an old.
Rolled into town as a young troubadour, and I'll be a young troubadour when I'm gone.
Oh.
I was just
90s
down in
country.
Nashville. I was just down in Nashville last weekend at the Troubadour, doing a big coaching event with there's a huge national nonprofit that my buddy who I used to coach with founded and runs. It's called Soldiers to Sidelines, and they take transitioning military members and like special forces members and whatnot. And one of the most easiest ways, like one of the most easiest jobs to transition to civilian life for them, which can be hard sometimes, is to be coaches, right? So they get them like trained up, like multiple years, like continued education, trained up, certified in everything about, coaching, say like football coaches. And then they go back and serve their communities. They go back and be high school coaches in their community. Some of them go on to be college coaches, some go on to be pro coaches, but a lot of them go and, be high school coaches, in their communities and pass on their discipline and their leadership and whatnot to the kids and youth. So it's funny. Like I was just down at the Troubadour for a big event.
World Travelers. World Traveler. You got to see all. I mean, football takes a lot of time. You ever get to in your off season get to go see the world?
Yeah, go to see the world a little bit. And I played in Europe a couple times. I played a couple games over there, right? When the NFL does the European games, and they're continuing to expand that. And I grew up in Houston, right? So it was easy to get to Mexico, right? And so we go down there. I lived in Buffalo, right? And so it was, just easy to get to Canada, at least pre-COVID, easy to get to Canada. It became for a while there was the non-friendship bridge,
Yeah, like you just had to like have your driver's license. Like, I'm here.
Cross, but
what's in the back of the car? I'm just playing. Come on.
I'm just playing, yeah.
I'm just kidding. Lakefront Capital, got out of coaching after the last stint with the Browns. And you created, Lakefront Capital, whole new world. But, you did go to college at Princeton, where I'm assuming you probably did the finance route up there. But talk about Lakefront Capital, man, and, the transition from coaching to a different kind of coaching on finances, man.
Yeah.
You're not in charge of people's professional careers. Now you're in charge of people's like livelihoods at, retirement and everything.
Right. No doubt. I mean, and that's what it's about. I will clarify, did not found Lakefront Capital. My partner and great friend, Brian Boucher, who's a career superstar in the financial advisory world.
Bobby brother?
Yeah, Bobby. Exactly. Bobby Boucher. Just like that. All right. Just like that. He's a sawed-off linebacker. He was a sawed-off linebacker and fullback at a four-time, at least in his career, four-time, back-to-back, I think, national champion, Division III national champion, Mount Union.
Go Purple Raiders, baby.
But Brian Boucher is is my partner and great friend and the president of Lakefront Capital. But yeah, so it's a private wealth management firm and financial advisory firm, based, here in Cleveland. Like you said, you hit the nail on the head. And I say that all the time. I was like, guys, I'm doing still the same. It's still the same me. I'm still doing the same kind of disciplines, protocols, processes. I mean, it's still mentorship. It's still coaching. It's still goal formation, goal orientation. You've got people that have goals. You've got people that have wants and needs and hopes and dreams, and even a time horizon, right? But they don't necessarily know how to get there, right? Everybody needs a coach, right? There's a level of coaching and there's a level of financial coaching that is that's therapy as well too, right? I mean, you got to be like a financial therapist, right? You got financial trauma. You've got a lot of, it's not something that I talk about this a lot. It's not something that is, I don't care if you're in the inner city or if you come from a very affluent private school, like Northeastern, type community. In both of those places, like finances in this country's, like at least curriculum is it's a massively like underrepresented thing, right? It's not taught, right? It's not, and it needs to be, right? To a large degree, it comes from just like your parents, like your family, what you were taught, what you saw growing up, and right, wrong, or indifferent, and then maybe if you decide at some point in time to like study it in college, and so you gotta unravel a lot of that stuff. But I love it. So I say it's the same. It's a different game. It's the same X's and O's, and just coaching the people on the financial side of things. But yeah, we do. We have a lot of individual clients, whether they be people that need help, wealthy people, business owners, legacy, type stuff, right? So they just inherited sudden wealth, whatever it may be, and what do I, do with it now? But then we have a large part of our business is we actually have like institutional clients. We do a bunch of stuff with where the business is our clients. We manage businesses, finances, books. We manage their 401k for all their employees, right? Or their executive benefits, for all their employees, or they're getting ready to sell their life. Like when you and Tony are getting ready in 20 years from now to sell, the Do Network for $100 million, for $100 million, right? And all of a sudden the government wants 50% of that. You didn't have it sitting in the bank, and now you do, and the government wants 50% of that, right? So that's
why when you sell it, you sell it for what you want after taxes.
Exactly. Or get ahead of the tax strategy. More importantly, what we do, I call that playing special teams, right? Like, is get ahead of the tax strategies ahead of time. Like, how are we going to take max depreciation? How are we going to put some of this in the irrevocable trust? How are we going to keep life's work, in our hands, right? So we do a bunch of stuff like that and with businesses and endowments and stuff. But I love it, man. I love it.
Now, like, your reward is like you help someone hit their financial freedom, man, and like it's not just you help someone's year to get a new contract. Like, you're changing someone's life. There's so much more longevity in that. But you can also blow it. You can also blow. No pressure.
Hey, you know what? I mean, I tell you, like the not anymore. Like, you blow it by just mismanagement or not management, right? And so that's what happens, too often, a lot of the time, right? Non-management, even if you're frugal, right? In a high inflationary environment like we're in right now, it's getting killed, right? I mean, you're losing your purchasing power, right? Even if you're budgeting, you're frugal and stuff like that. And then you go to, man, like, hey, like we've been there, done that. Like, I've been there, done that as a coach, as a football coach and a financial coach, right? With like, man, you got like, sometimes you get the client, right? Because I've had this before, hey, coach, right? Still call me coach, right? Hey, coach, I need you to, I know you're doing this financial thing now, right? It's like how they say, I don't know what you're doing. I know you're doing this financial thing now. Hey, can you like check we just had our boys weekend in Vegas or whatever, like Miami, can you like check this? Like, I think maybe like my credit card got hacked or whatever, or whatever. It says like, we ran like, because it's saying like we ran like $500,000, bill or whatever, like in 2 days. And so it's like, we should sit down, get everything, go through the like line item. And it's just, they're just like, oh, yep, we did that. Yep, we did that. Yep, that was us. Whatever. You go through every single one, and there's like, oh, yep, you guys just spent $500,000 in 2 days. So we need to. So it's like, so we need to have a plan going forward.
I didn't know that you rep Charles Barkley. That's cool.
Party like a rock star right there.
Yeah. So it's like it's unfortunate, but that's what you do. It's like, at the end of the day, I tell people, guys, all the time. There's that old I tell them there's an old Chinese proverb. You'll like this one, Tony, because you love stuff like that. There's an old Chinese proverb, right, where the man, asked the wise man. He said, "Hey, when's the teacher said, when's the best time to plant an orchard?" And he said, 10 years ago. And he's like, okay, well, I can't do that. When's the second best time to plant it? Right now, And so I like tell them that all the time, is like, don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, yeah, you may have messed up before, and we may not even be able to like handle that before, but we can like stop the behavior and we can stop the habits now. when they started going forward. Like, you know what I mean?
I mean,
The best thing would have been to start it a while ago, and the next best thing would be to start it right here.
Your money doubles every 5 years, right?
Yeah.
In theory.
I mean, you probably have to be getting like a 14%, like annualized return. But yeah, the S&P
500 is 20%,
doubles every 7 years, right? The rule of 7, right? You're going at 11% a year. Yep.
I love
so do you just deal with a lot of like athletes or anything, or is it like general public, or how does that?
Yeah, no, it's general public. Honestly, we deal. This is probably the smallest percentage of our company would be athletes, right? In terms of just like overall people. I mean, because we may have a company over here that's got 1,000 employees, right? And if you sit there and say, okay, that one company, but then you're managing like all the 401ks, right? Like if you clump that up, you're like the overall money / the overall client, so to say, like out of that one company is significant. But no, we do a lot of individuals, a lot of small business owners, just like private financial coaching and financial advisory firm, insurance, stuff like that as well too, right? Playing the defensive side of things, insurance, budgeting, bill pay. Like you never know. Like some people, like it could be somebody that's super busy running their own business, or it could be a pro athlete, right? Who doesn't. And so like we say, hey, we'll set all this stuff up on auto pay and like pay, like instead of you figuring out how to do it and therefore not do it, right? And all of a sudden you have like a tax lien or something for like $10,000 when you make, when you make 10 times that a week, but it's just because this bill didn't get paid. If you think about it, when you move, say a player gets traded mid-season or moves like a couple times in a couple of years, right? And you don't know, it's like
it's different income tax per state, right?
Yeah. Well, also the thing about it is like, so we're considered entertainers, and so we pay an entertainment and jock tax, that they kind of call it. So you have to pay state income for 24 hours of state income in every single state you play in.
Even Florida and Tennessee, where there's no state income tax?
Unless there's no state income tax, right? Oh, but then some of them even have a little like weird like entertainers tax on top of it as well too. But yeah, so that was always like the nuisance, right? I'd be sitting there like filing like 12 state income taxes from all over and I'm like, some of those would be small, right? Especially early in my career, I'm making less. I'm like, I got to pay a $2.50. It's going to take me 100 times that just to file it, or 20 times that just to file it. Like,
Right.
Oh, man, yeah. I know my tax guy. I put him through some ringers when I got into like trying to day trade like crypto. Like one year, thought it was cool, and he was like, "Dude, do not ever do this again. Like
ever do it again."
Because the amount of transactions you have is crazy. I didn't know there was like a database he had access to that I didn't know, and I was like, "Oh, if you're doing that," I was like, "I'm sorry, dude." I was like, "You got bad." I was like, "It got real bad." I was doing like 30 trades a day, man, because there's like no trading fees for crypto. So speaking of crypto, but also in general, let's talk before we, it's playoff weekend here, and we'll get back to that, folks. But also this is really important.
I don't know if you can see right there, the man, the myth, the legend.
I did see Jim Brown.
That's my Jim Brown signed picture. He used to sit in the back of our meetings at the when we were coaching at the Browns.
Most polarizing figure in person. Like when he was in a room, like you knew he was there. Like,
oh yeah, I mean when he was in the room, everybody gravitated.
Yeah, that guy, like that natural dog. Yeah,
it was pretty cool as well too. Like that was also, there was a lot going on with the whole like kneeling at the anthem at the time, right?
And I remember the storyline. Go ahead.
And he was right, like OG, right? Him and Muhammad Ali. And Will Chamberlain and all them were all like the real civil rights movement. They were superstars and like big time, right? Big time involved with all that. And so he just had some really interesting perspectives. It was like to a degree, like it was like having the Muhammad Ali, like of football, like be in our meetings to talk about that stuff during that time.
If I remember correctly, his thing in this, because I remember it sticks with me to this day, where he goes, "You can't be both athletes and advocates." I think was like the message he kind of said there. You can't take millions of dollars from these owners and then like say, "Hey, I stand up for this." Like if you really want to stand up for something, hey buddy.
It is called. This is the dad show, Dudes After Dark.
It is. That's right.
Somebody decided to get out of his bed and just stuff an entire marshmallow.
Dude, that was a big bite. Big gulp, eh?
An entire marshmallow in his mouth. Can you say hi?
I'm just impressed his hair is still. Hey, buddy.
This is Tristan.
Hey.
Oh, this is my dude.
That's right. Hey, you got that marshmallow down pretty good.
How old are you, Tristan?
How old are you?
3.
3.
What? Dude, that's pretty old, man. Your dad needs to set up a pension in your name like immediately, and to sit you.
You know what? I'm all as my sisters.
How old?
How old is she?
How old is she?
7.
What? 7? That's old. That's real old. What are you gonna do when you're 7?
What are you gonna do when you're 7?
Go fishing?
Hey, can you give us? We know the Browns are playing. The Browns are playing playoff game tomorrow. Are you excited about that? Can you give us your Browns song? Can you sing us your "Here You Go Brownies" that you always run around the house singing? Say it loud. Say it real loud. Here we go. Here we go, brownies.
Here we go.
Oh, yay!
Your dad needs to get you a new dog. I think that's what he said. And ice cream.
A dog and ice cream?
What kind of dog you want? A big one? I don't know. I think your dad would like a real small one. Something that bites at his ankles.
Yeah, small one.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, a beagle. They're really loud. A beagle's a really loud dog. You want something you can hear when you lose it.
Well, we have a quiet dog.
Oh, that ain't gonna work.
Up there. We have a quiet dog up there.
You have a quiet dog up there?
Is it sleeping?
Is it sleeping?
No.
No.
Oh, you should go ride it.
Get your dog.
But season evil.com now. I don't hear anything.
You don't hear it?
So Tristan, what stock should I buy in 2024?
What stocks?
Pepsi.
What's your fit?
Apple, which is doing pretty good right now for anybody paying attention. I mean, that's plus pays dividends.
He'd probably say so. You know these kids. He's like Disney or Amazon.
Yeah.
All he knows Amazon Prime and Disney Plus.
I would not buy Disney. What?
Do you like Amazon? Yeah. Your uncle works for Google.
No.
What?
So Google.
And Tony got so excited about the stocks he froze up. He got happy about the Apple stocks.
He did.
Yeah. Poor fella. Hey, but that's fine. That's fine. We saw it's
Pat McAfee buried the owner. I was like, well, there went ESPN stock.
And he's back just like that. What? And he's gone again. What are you gonna do?
It storms up here. I told you, man.
It is. It's the same way.
Nasty wind and rain up here right now.
Yeah, they just subsided here. But it's time for us to take a break right now anyway. So we're gonna take a real short break. Give Tony a time to come back with us. But enjoy this little commercial right here, everybody. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Sounds good. Say bye-bye.
All right, we're mid-show, but it's time for us to have a beer break. Some of us don't have a fridge by our
fingertips during this thing. So drink a Garage Beer, and we'll be right back after this message. What's up, everybody? It's Tony here, and I would like to talk to you about our feature spice blends of the month. Troubadour, spiceblends.com. All kinds of flavors from all around the world. We're going to have them on later this month to get to meet Pete, who develops all of these here. Residential kitchen made, which means handcrafted blends. You know what's going in them. Small batch, really high quality. You can get multiple sizes. You can get your 4 ounces. You can go with your 8 ounces. And then if you really like them, you can go up even farther than that. Bulk orders are available. All kinds of flavors from all around the world. Korean barbecue, Applewood pork and poultry, Cuban seasoning, shawarma seasoning, on and on and on and on. I can keep going. Always coming out with new flavors, new spices. It's a veteran-owned company and always a great partner of the Dude Network. So please help us out. Try something new. Try Troubadour Spice Blends. For every product you buy this month, you get entered into our monthly end drawing. 1 bottle, 1 entry. So go over to troubadourspiceblends.com and let us know what you tried out. We'd love to hear what you think of these. Hopefully you like them as much as we do. Now back to the show.
I kind of felt bad for the people on the. I mean, to be fair, it was a Spirit flight home. You paid for a Spirit flight. What do you expect? On the flight, that's one of those where you put your headphones on and you pretend to be asleep, and as you just like, or you're like, oh, who was that? That's terrible. That wasn't.
He goes, you paid for her Spirit flight.
That's the perfect ad. So you want to get away?
What's up, dudes and dudettes? I'm here at Minglewood Distillery in beautiful Worcester, Ohio, and I'm here to try something that I am personally very excited about. I had to come straight to the source. Rumor is they got a new 5-year bourbon, and if you know anything about me, I'm a sucker for a good 5-year pour. Let's get into it. Let's go. Man, that's really smooth. You can smell the corn in there, but it's got some other grains in there, so it's not like a really harsh corn smell at all. Wow. There's like no burn after that at all. That's the difference between that 4 and the 5-year. That 1 extra year. I know distillers lose a little bit more yield, but the quality they get out of this extra year is phenomenal. I want to give this a dude approved pour. Minglewood Distillery, 5-year bourbon. Got to give it a try. It's available here in Worcester and probably in some other places around Northeast Ohio. We'll see you next time. All right, we're back. And little announcement in there. We are happy here to announce we are teaming up for the rest of 2024 with local to me, but some awesome stuff for merch and just a really cool place. If you ever come to Worcester, Ohio, Minglewood Distillery down here. This is their 5-year bourbon. Absolutely awesome. One of the coolest places I have ever freaking been to. It's an old ice packing house and coal company from the 1880s. With I got this, the stills in this 50-foot vault ceiling. You're going to see a lot of content from Minglewood, and we're in talks to them about getting them included in some giveaways. We won't spill the beans on that because we have to figure out some things. But yeah, Minglewood Distilling Company out of Worcester, Ohio. Some very good stuff, man. That was cool. And Blake, man, we got commercial breaks now. Oosh, oosh.
I love it. Commercial breaks, bourbon commercial breaks.
Hell yeah.
I love it. I can't wait to try that, man.
Yeah, dude, that tasting room is cool. And the whole place was awesome. Yeah, I gotta get, because I think it's not that far from Bree. If you're south, that's even closer than what.
Yeah, we take the kids in the fall down to the big farm there in Worcester.
Oh, which one's that?
I'm trying to remember what it's called. There's this huge farm down there in Worcester, and they do like the huge like hay rides, and they have like all sorts of like games and like the 3-story slides and mazes and all that type of stuff set up. Like living up here, like, and I'm not from here. I just fell in love with Northeast Ohio, but it's like I always tell people like fall is like, I feel like fall is like our season, like up here in Northeastern Ohio, like, there's It's like there's a lot of cool things to do, but like fall is like definitely kind of like our season. And I spent a life in football as either went straight from a coach's kid to an athlete myself, straight to a coach myself, right? And so I never knew all the things that they're like literally. I mean, until I was 30, until I was 37 years old, 38 years old, like I never knew what all the things to do in the fall because you're just 7 days a week.
There's something to talk about right there. I mean, that transition is a real thing, man. I mean, so you got to do it from the coaching side. So as a dad, as a family man, what was that like that first year where you were like, oh, I don't have to spend 18 hours in a film room today? So like, what was that like, man? Like, did you have to keep like catching yourself that first year where you weren't doing this ridiculous NFL schedule with all the demands of hours?
I tried to fill that time. I felt that I filled that time with like everything that I wanted to do / like with my family. Like we went and like immediately when I made the decision to do that, we went and lived at our place at the beach, in Florida for like probably 10 weeks, and then because I was I just left the Jets, right, and so we had to move back to our house, in Berea that we were renting out to some Browns coaches. And so and then we moved back over here, played a ton of golf, more golf than I probably ever played in my life, with my father for about 3 months, just hung out with my kids, all that type of stuff kind of, and so I threw myself into I was like, okay, I'm going to just become pro at golf, like not literally go play on the tour, but pro at golf. I'm going to work out, like I was back playing again and get in shape. I'm going to do this. Right. So I kind of threw myself into these like flash, like obsession type things, when you're not hanging out with your kids. I mean, small kids, sleep a lot as well too. Right. Yeah. So it's like, I feel like I still was up for those 20, like 18 to 20 hour days. I was just filling them up, differently, but I love it, man. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And the ability to do, I mean, I'd be right now, like I wouldn't be doing this. Right. I mean, real talk. I'd either be.
I mean, you wouldn't be here on a Friday night before the Browns playoff game.
No doubt. I'd either be like trying to find a new job, like so many coaches that just got laid off, or their coach or their head coach. People don't think about this, right? Is like, for instance, like with it could be Seattle or it could be Alabama, right? Like head coach said, "I'm done," which is his right to do, but all the rest of those coaches are fired. You know what I mean? All the rest of those coaches. So you just went to the college football playoffs and you're essentially fired because your head coach hung it up, right? Doesn't mean you can't get another job, but it's like you're out of this one.
Well, let's talk about that, man. You as a coach. Okay. So we have people here that probably aren't big like NFL people, but it's called Black Monday, which is the worst probably day for any coach if you had a not so good year. And I'm going to speak this like on what my perspective of it is. And Blake, from a very high intelligent viewpoint, is going to break this down here for us. So Black Monday is when all the coaches get fired, because the sooner you get fired, the sooner the team can find the next coach to start off the off season, because every day, because you got the combine, the draft coming up, you got to start getting your players, your free agents, who you're going to go after, all the things. From my point of view, he'll confirm that. So Blake, as a coach, did you ever suffer through a bad Black Monday? Did you ever have a good Black Monday? Like, what was that like as a coach? Or did you kind of always had like, and if you did you have a feeling that it was coming, or was it like were you ever in like a Pete Carroll situation who was everyone thought was golden and now he's out? So explain to how Black Monday works from an actual coach's point of view.
So, I mean, for me, taking a step back to your first question, like for me personally, I happen to just, I happen to be very blessed with that in my career. Like I never experienced a bad Black Monday or a shocking Black Monday day to myself, for myself. Right. Never really had one of those, that I can think of. Obviously you get, let go or something like that, but like you kind of like know it's coming. You've discussed it like before the end of the year. You already have like your new place, picked out, sort of thing. A lot of them usually like when that happens, like at least with us, you know, and whatnot, or me, you know, it's like it's the whole staff. Like when we left the Browns, right? Like they had 2 opportunities, right? They're going to make, you know, G-Dub, you know, for the viewers out there, like my father, you know, the head coach who was the interim head coach, and keep me as the D coordinator and staff together, or they were going to go a different direction, right? And so it's like they're going to go a different direction, and pretty much like all of us, you know, other 20 coaches were going to be out, right? So you kind of know that's going on, right? And so you're already like behind the scenes hitting the phones, like having the other
options. You got a spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Black Monday, man, it's rough. I say this though, because I've lived it from every different side of things. It's more rough, way more rough, for the family members, right? So the coaches, like the players, the whatever, like they signed up for this, right? And they're kind of honestly, they're more insulated. Right. It's kind of a weird thing. Like when some of these type of things happen, like they're more insulated, like it's happening to them, but like they're not necessarily out there. Like if they don't want to go on social media, they don't got to go on social media and hear the fans like, you know, celebrating their demise or talking trash or putting memes out there about them. Right. And if they do, it's like it's social media and you're a grown man. Right. But like versus like your wife having to be out in public, everybody like knows who she is, or more importantly, like your kids got to go to school, right? And kids are going to talk about it. I'm just telling you, like so many adults, I've lived it growing up, like teachers, sorry, like they don't know, like they're like kids as well too. Like they don't know, like they're fans, right? They don't know what to say, what not to say. It's like tee hee hee. It's like, oh yeah, tee hee hee. What if I just said this about your husband? Your husband's a terrible lawyer, like he should get fired. Right. And like you can move out of your pearly white house, like you get paid $35,000 a year as a teacher. Like, what if I just hit you all up on all that stuff? It would smack you hard in the face, right? Like, because because my father, as a little girl, little boy, is like not even a human being to you. He's like an actor or an entertainer, stuff like that to you, which were like indoctrinated. But it's like to me, it's like that is just my dad, you know. And you think as well too, like when that happens with the father, I've talked about this even this past week out there. You know, the father, a lot of these fathers, like if they're getting another job, like they're gone tomorrow, they're gone the next day. But the kid is finishing out the school year. They're in the middle of a semester. They're in the middle of playing high school or middle school basketball or cheerleading or getting ready to do baseball and track, right? And they're living in that community every single day, having to like face the people, right? I mean, the coaches and the players, they're not out in the community every single day because they're grinding, working, even when they're employed by the team, right? So that's why they're insulated by it. It's the families who have to go out there and like face the noise and then potentially even like stay in the community for 6, 7, 8 months like afterwards and continue to like face the music, so to say. And so like that's where I think it's really tough.
That's a wild viewpoint. Yeah. That's I mean, you think about it, but I guess you don't really think about it. You know, like it makes sense, but yeah. No, that's.
I've seen, and unfortunately, like I've seen people handle it all different ways as kids growing up, right? Like some people become, very, like this would be like me and my siblings, expert compartmentalizers, expert mental toughness, and stuff like that. I've seen people go the other way, unfortunately, as well too, where it's like almost like they kind of like distance themselves from their father, or like, talk like, or like with their friends, like talk trash, about their father, sort of thing. Right. You know what I mean? To try to like distance themselves from being recognized as like that person's child versus me as a human being. Right. So often like you're identified as like your identification is not like Blake, little kid running around or whatever, you know what I mean? No, you're like so-and-so's son, so-and-so. It's like, it's how you're introduced. That's how people say, right? And so I've seen people, go the opposite way of the
that
press.
Would be tough for a kid.
It is.
That'd be real tough for a kid.
It is,
It's like, no, like I have a name. I don't even like football. Like
it's for real.
Those are the things those are some of the things that I am happy about to degrees. Not that I wouldn't change it for the world. Like my whole life, my everything for the world, right? I wouldn't even change some of those things that I just talked about, right? Because it teaches you about people, how to deal with people. I said toughness, how to deal with criticism about whatever that is. But I'm very happy that like my children don't know that, and my children won't have to know that, so to say, right? You know what I mean? So to say, like just choosing a different path for them, right? Like I decided to step away before they started grade school. They're 7 and 3, and so I stepped away 3 years ago, right? So before they had to, experience some of those things. You don't want this dad coming up to PTA. I promise you, I'm the wrong MFer.
I know the DNA.
I'm not the one. You see those bats? You see those come get some Louisville Sluggers. Me, I'll bring all 12 of them.
They about to F around
and be handing out. They all say bring the wood. I'll be handing out the wood.
And we bring the garage beers and a little cold hell yeah. Right in there. Hell yeah. Dude, that's an awesome viewpoint. Thanks for sharing with that, man, because that was really cool. By the way, I updated real quick before we get into Damon's got a couple clips here to get us laughing here a little bit, probably. Hashtag George Strait for he's a young troubadour.
Here we go
again. Yeah. I thought I nailed it. I got that baritone shit.
Hey, I'm gonna get it to you because I'm not gonna attempt it. So
come on, Damon, one time. Come on, buddy.
I don't even know the song, so I'm not.
Here, let me look up the lyrics. Let's look it up.
He says, "I was a young troubadour."
And that's it.
We can't even
on a song.
See, we can't even. This is the thing. We done turned into the damn voice now.
Woo!
That's right. Hey, he wins because that's.
I grew up in Texas and I grew up in Houston and Nashville.
Hey,
raised on the old country music.
Yeah.
I wrote in on a song. Oh man, yeah, that's good stuff. Right there.
Young troubadour, I wrote a song.
That's right. Sometimes I feel like Jesse James. Yeah, that was a good part. Trying to make a name.
Jesse James in the James Younger gang is from where I was born and where G-Dub grew up. So G-Dub grew up on Jesse James Road, literally Jesse James Road, right where he was born, Liberty, Missouri.
Was Billy the Kid the one that they always had a conspiracy that he never was actually killed, and that he got to live on his life, or was that Jesse James?
Yeah.
Which one was it? One of them was allegedly not actually killed, but it was like a handshake agreement with the U.S. Marshal to just go.
Pretty sure that was Billy the Kid. Yeah, because Jesse James was shot in the back by a young one of his crew that he didn't feel like it was getting his due respect.
But so was Billy the Kid shot in the back too?
I don't know.
No.
Billy the Kid is Billy the Kid okay?
Still living?
Yeah, that wasn't gonna work.
He's a vampire.
Billy the Kid conspiracy.
So there you go.
There we go.
They say he was buried. Oh yeah, that is what some people.
Yeah, Billy the Kid. Yeah,
in 1881.
Yep. There was because there was never any DNA, and they wanted there was shows. They were wanting to dig up the bones.
I remember that.
Yes, there is for all you conspiracy people. Billy the Kid allegedly was never killed and got to live out.
Yeah, I grew up with all those old Jesse James and James Younger gang stories, and off of Jesse James Road. And there's a little private college there in Liberty, Missouri, called William Jewell College. And Jesse James' father was the president there, and started it. And Jesse James was actually, he was able to do all that stuff because he was highly intelligent, highly educated, and his father was highly educated. And Jesse James was in one of the would have been in the original graduating classes, but he left to go fight in the Civil War.
Okay.
And then he came back from it, right? And all the stuff, all the stuff of the Union taking over and kind of taking over farms for the railroad up, and so he and his cousins got together and and rough stuff up. But right there on campus, like right there in campus, is a little gravesite of like some of the extended family, buried, right there in the middle of campus on a little hill. Yep.
The things we talk about on this show, I tell you, I mean, I love it. I'm all about the random knowledge. Like I'm a sponge.
Hey, at this time of night, like dudes after dark, get some bourbon in me, and I just turn into a walking Wikipedia.
I love it. Yeah. I know everything that's not relevant.
Squirrel.
Yeah. If it's important, no clue. Wrong guy. What bourbon are you sipping on? I didn't even ask.
This is actually not bourbon tonight, right? This is rum. Ooh. And so this is a sipping rum, which is like a sipping rum. So this is one of my all-time favorites. I'm going to switch it up, but this is Plantation 20-year-old anniversary. And you pour this on a big rock like bourbon and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's like, here's my glass. Look at this. It says, "Don't even."
Rough day.
Great day. And I like to think about it this way. I think it was made like backwards. For the funny of like, hey, how much you fill it up, right? So it's like if you fill it all the way to this line, you're saying don't even ask. I like to think of it like the glass half full, glass half empty. I like to think it of the other way. No, always fill it up to the top. And as I drink it down, it's giving you the barometer. Still don't even. All right, true. Rough day. And by the time I get down here, it's a great day. It doesn't matter how. You
ain't got no more worries in the world.
Yeah. I like it. It's like a countdown. It's a
countdown.
Hell yeah. Oh shit. That's good stuff. Damon, you got some videos here for us, man. Let's laugh.
Yeah, man.
Make me laugh. I want to laugh, Damon.
Yeah, so we got
funny. Boondock Saints shout out.
So Coach's World, Bob Green. He was a coach at Montana Tech.
Oh, this guy was awesome.
Oh, I love it.
Electric.
I know where you're going with this.
Here's Bob Green for us right now.
Football team was like the kid that plays second French horn in the school band. We got to play better. And that's a double-edged sword. It's kind of like watching your mother-in-law go off a cliff in a Cadillac. You got mixed feelings. He's like that black lab on the first day of pheasant hunting season. He was pulling at the chain. We're kind of like a woodpecker in a petrified forest. Just keep busy and look for opportunities. I got a short memory, just like when I was in the third grade. 2 of the best years of my life. Some aspects look like we're really ready to play. A couple of other aspects look like we just got off Willie Nelson's tour bus. And all the calls I made on fourth down all those years, you know what my favorite fourth down call was?
What?
Punt. It was the most successful play we had.
Oh, God.
We need more.
I love it. I mean, you could literally fill up like a 20-minute montage of him with just his stuff.
Yeah,
there's not too many coaches like that. And like Mike Leach was probably the biggest coach that was. I mean, he's still funny. Like Mike Leach's marriage interviews are awesome. You ever see those? Yeah.
How do I do to elope? He said, my advice is to elope.
Yeah, because your mom, she's going to want this. Your mother-in-law, she's going to want to do this. Your wife, she's going to ultimately do this. And they're going to ask you about the flowers. And you're going to ask about the flowers, and you pick the wrong flowers. And he's like, just elope.
Exactly.
And it was like a post-game on the field interview. It was awesome. It was magical. What do you have anything else there? Did you have another one there, Damon?
Yeah, I mean, we can go from that coach to this little league coach right here. He's in the same. He's in the same realm.
Is this the little league baseball coach?
Yep.
Yeah.
My dog took a huge dump in the backyard this morning, and that's exactly what your performance tonight reminds me of. Oh, Bryce, maybe if your parents would quit spending all their money on vape, you get you a pitching lesson, you wouldn't suck so bad. Dude, now I understand why you're the last kid picked in the draft every season. Oh, is that you?
Yeah.
You sure? If your goal was to blow the lead, you did a good job of it. Your teammates are going to kill you during recess tomorrow. I bet this team hopes you pitch against them every game. Tyson, if you know how to cheat, now's the time to start, all right? Let me freaking guess. Your parents have you on a gluten-free diet, don't they? You stride out there and put the foot goes in front. Yes.
How do we think of stretching? They're trying to do the splits.
Are you okay, dude? This is no time to be sober. You play Fortnite? No? Yeah, they do. Like the whole world does. Except you nerds. How long is the bus that you take to school? Is it like normal length or is it like shorter than others? Just curious.
Normal.
Sure.
Oh god.
You sure?
Dude,
I thought it was gonna be
hey,
the pep talk. I thought it was gonna be the pep talk.
dude, my pops was our like assist because obviously like he's coaching the pros and whatnot, so like he couldn't be the head coach.
Yeah.
But he'd be like the head coach for our little league. He'd always be like, "You guys go handle the parents, whatever. Like I'll do the coaching." So he was. I've sent him that so many times like throughout the years. Be like, "Yeah, this reminds me of you coaching little league baseball in Texas. The same thing." Especially the one at the end.
Coaches, man.
Especially the one at the end where he's like, curious, how long is the bus that you ride to school?
I could see G-Dub saying that. I like the one where he's doing like the pep talk and he goes, and if your parents say winning isn't everything, well, guess what? They're losers. So true story. Did you know that guy survived the Las Vegas shooting? He was there during the Las Vegas shooting. He was on the McAfee show and he like unveiled during the show that he was like, he heard the gunshots and he had to like go through like,
jeez, man.
He got out on the rooftop and everything like that. And he like heard the guns and everything. He wasn't at the concert, or he might have been, but he was there at Vegas and had to scramble to get to safety.
No.
I think he got separated from his wife or something like that too, like out doing his own thing, and then they had to like meet up, so he had to go like an hour or two without knowing anything. So that's a fun backstory of that dude. Yeah, everyone's like, "Whoa, we were planning to laugh this whole time. That was not expected." Okay, so we had coaching. 2 massive errors came to a close this week, like wildly. Well, Bill Belichick, everyone kind of knew that was probably coming. At least the national pulse was he was out, but the Nick Saban retiring thing came out of left field. Roll Tide. Shout out Willie. He's sad, big sad.
Yeah,
Roll Tide Willie, big sad. Didn't want to play those players. He said. Nick Saban said didn't want Nick. Yeah. So, question for you is, what was your take on the end of 2 eras, same week? Saban was down there, not quite 24 years, but Bill Belichick 24 years. Saban close to 20, and 15,
17.
17. Okay. So take on that, and then my question to you is, who had a better dynasty?
Ding. So I wasn't surprised by either. I think there was way more obviously out there about the New England one, which is that's the unfortunate part of the business, right? Like the leaks and counter leaks, right? That are like our 4 agendas on all sides of things, right? Like when you're playing the Cold War games. And so I think it was, both sides were ready to be done. And it happens, right? Like it happens. Like you see it all the time. Like married for 24 years, it can happen sometimes, right? It's not like there wasn't good times or great times, but it's just like, it's not like necessarily you even divorce on bad terms, right? You know what I mean? But it's like, it's just time to go different ways, different things. I mean, that's an epic run. Like if you sit there and you think about it, I mean, hell, even Tom Landry was fired by Jerry Jones, when he took over, the Cowboys, right? In part because Jerry just wanted to do it differently, right? Like go on to a new era. But now that wouldn't surprise me. But then honestly, neither did the Nick Saban one. It didn't surprise me. He was, if you know him, like I do, and you just see his press conferences and you like read between the lines, like he uses his press conferences like all the great coaches that I know. And he talks to in the press conferences, right? He talks to his fans. He's never talking to the media. He's usually talking to his team. right? He's getting the message out there to his team, all right, and or
Right,
he's
through the press
or he's
conference.
talking to fans,
Yeah.
or he's talking to like administration, right? But like you just see
Or his boosters.
all the stuff with the portal and the NIL now, and it's so wild west. It just with him. I mean, I think it wasn't what he was about, what he was from, and whatnot, right? You can say, hey, you got to change with the times. It's like, no, you don't have to change with the times. You can just say deuces, like he did, right? But I think in this current era, it negated his ability to both recruit and coach, right? Like where he had kind of a corner on the market, right? Because of being able to coach so well and get great coaches in there, and his whole organization, his whole everything, develop players, right? And he would have 5 stars sitting underneath 5 stars. And then when that 5-star would go off, right, the other 5-star would eventually play. But he built it up like an NFL roster, right? Where to a degree, same thing as an NFL roster, where it's like, okay, say like all rookies coming in, like we got you for 4 years unless we cut you. Sort of thing. Like in the NFL, you can't negotiate a new deal until after your 3rd year or whatever in the league, right? Like for rookies, and so he had it kind of like that. Well, now it's like that 5-star comes in and he doesn't like the way he's been talked to, or he doesn't like the fact that he's not playing behind another older 5-star that's getting ready to go in the 1st round. He just and or somebody wants to come and buy him away, they can right then and there, right? And so it's like so he was just tired. He's like, I'm constantly recruiting. Like I recruit the kids for 4 years, and then I'm constantly recruiting them to stay. Like you're recruiting them every single day and every single year, sort of thing. Like a lot of the coaches, especially old school coaches I know are burnt out by this, like current kind of like, wild
I'm
west.
sure it's an adjustment. I am 100% confident it's an adjustment.
So I think he was just like, hey, it's time. I mean, I don't need to do this. I think, he set it himself up. He makes more money off the field than he does on the field, and he can go do announcing, and whatnot, and so, the TV money is just continuing to blow up, right? So it's just like, hey, it's time to spend more time around my grandkids and stuff like that. As far as dynasty goes, man, that's really hard. I would probably
you can make an easy argument for both.
I would say, like, honestly, like you can make so many arguments about both, right? It's like it was impressive what Bill did in New England, especially because you had like free agency and like all that type of stuff, and whatnot. And so he did it with a bunch of different people, but he did it all with Tom Brady, right? And we've kind of seen Tom go on to Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay have success and everything, that sort of thing, and then New England not, and so that that kind of puts a little damper on that. And then you say, okay, well, like, hey, Nick Saban was doing it constantly with like a revolving door, right? Because guys are constantly leaving, but there's nowhere near the parity that there is in a league, right? Where the Patriots could get beaten any week, like by anybody, right? And then it would happen, right? Like they go on and win Super Bowls, but they'd lose to teams that would.
As long as you win the division, it don't matter how many you lose.
They would lose to teams that won two games or 3 games that year. You'd look back and like, oh, the Patriots went 14-2. Who were their 2 losses to? And it wouldn't be to like playoff teams, right? It would be to like slappy teams.
Miami,
right?
Miami always beat New England,
and that's how the NFL is, right? In majority of Nick's time at Alabama, there was maybe any given year like 2 teams on their schedule before like the BCS or the playoffs, maybe 2 teams on their schedule that legitimately could and should beat them, maybe 3 teams, right? But like in the NFL, you're not, right? So there was a disparity there, honestly, from that level. But yeah, I mean, it was just I don't care what you say, like, and people can make all those arguments, like the consistency, like nobody else was doing it. If it was easy,
yeah, right.
Like everybody says, oh, well, no, he had all these. Oh, he did. Okay, well, nobody else, or oh, he did it this way. Okay, well, everybody else was trying to. It's copycat world, right? When people have success, everybody else is trying to copy that model, right? Or find a way like to beat those people. And so like, and they weren't able to for so long. And so like the within their realm where everybody's kind of competing with the same rules, so to say. Like that level of like consistency over time comes back to like coaching ability, culture ability to put people in the right place and empower them, and establish like discipline and accountability and whatnot. Is like at the root, right, wrong, or indifferent. Like their players, for the most part, both of those two people, like their players played different and played the best they'd ever played for them.
True.
Right. It's like a mark of a good culture and a good coach, you know?
It is. So I guess a follow-up question is, do you think there's ever going to be another Nick Saban Alabama type era with the land of no sitting out a year in between transfers and NIL money? Because it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Now, I will say, if it's done again, you cannot convince me it'll be a more impressive dynasty than what it was in Nick Saban, because there were rules in place where it protected him, where people, if they left, they had to sit out a full year, you know? So
I think if anybody does, I think there will. And I think if anybody does it, it will be Georgia and it'll be Kirby. I think that in my opinion, the only team that legitimately stacked up and beaten Michigan this year is Georgia. That's just my opinion. And I think if Georgia would have been playing, I think if Georgia would have been playing Michigan, it would have been like potentially a different story, right?
Sure.
Kirby has no desire, to go coach in the NFL, and at least he's never has or expressed. I mean, I know him and whatnot. That's not him. What he wants to do, and so I think if there's anybody, because I think there's some of those other guys, that they're not going to be able to do it because they're not getting with the NIL level, or some of those other guys that'll potentially make the jump to the NFL or something like that, right? So I think Kirby, like the most successful one, right off of the Saban is going to be the one to do it, right? And they've already started it, right? They already started it. If they rattle off it, I mean, they've lost one game out of the last 30 and won two national championships.
Wasn't good.
They got left out. They got left out of the playoffs. They got left out of the playoffs after winning back-to-back national championships and winning 29 straight games just because they barely lost one game to Alabama. But that's just the way it is. Hey, if it was next year, we'd get to see it, right? Because the playoffs are expanding next year.
12 teams.
We wouldn't have that.
Yeah, it saved Ryan Day's job.
Ooh. All I know is this: there was 27 guys. Because we're talking about all this NIL and transfer stuff as well too, and sitting out of bowl games, right? Yeah. That's crazy now. But Georgia and Florida State played each other in the bowl, and 27 guys transferred, injured, or set out for Georgia, and 27 guys set out or transferred or didn't play for Florida State. Both teams had 27, right? And it was 63-3, and Georgia called off the dogs. Like it could have been.
Oh, absolutely.
It could have been 100-3.
Because they put on such a show. I didn't realize they had that many dudes out. Yeah, Jesus, man, they're stacked, dude.
Yeah, Kirby talked about it after the game. Like, college football is going to have to do something about this. Like, not like they're going to have to do something about this. Like and I don't know what they're going to do, right? Because he said Kirby said like they're going to have to like make the transfer portal like not open until like after the new year, until after the season gets over. Here's the thing about it is that means like what are you going to do? Are you going to make like all of the American? Are you going to make the American colleges change, like start the second semester later? Because part of the reasons for that is because those kids have to be in class. So like they're like, if I wait until January 8th or whatever to transfer, or January, like the second semester is already started.
It's already started, yeah.
Like I need to already be transferred and like enrolled in classes before the second semester.
I don't think that's going to make a difference, because then kids are just going to know they're transferring and they're just going to just sit out what they need to sit out. They're already now. and then you have to go with the honor system that coaches will reach out like, hey, your kid reached out to me in the no season. Like, nah, it's very rare that a coach will report a kid because you don't want that going around. Like, hey, that coach will snitch on you and report you for breaking recruiting laws and stuff like that. So I don't think it might help, but I still think the kids know if they're going to transfer or not.
Right.
And yeah, so I think that even if you have to wait, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, well then my hamstring hurts. Like, sorry.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think people are training these kids on how to get out of stuff. I mean, we see it in player contracts. The Antonio Brown Vegas Raiders contract, like that dude did everything possible to jeopardize him to get out of the contract he wished he would not have signed. So, like, these guys get coached and advised by smart people such as yourself, Blake. Like, hey, maybe financial decision. Like, yeah, you might want to be hurt next couple months. Like, your shoulder, remember that shoulder issue you had in Pee Wee? Like, yeah, it's back. It's you got the arthritis.
And right, wrong, or indifferent, like you can't hate on them. Like, I'm just being honest, right? Like, just out for the fans out there, I don't want to ruin your fandom. I don't want to ruin the fantasy of the world, for you out there. But just know when like stuff's getting fed to you by like the media and like stuff like LinkedIn, stuff like that, like it's getting fed by like billion-dollar corporations or billionaires paying checks who have like an agenda. I'm just saying. Right. And that are getting, fed to you about like 22-year-olds, whether it be college players or NFL players. And so it's like, I mean, hey, I'm going to sit out for this, or I'm not going to sit out for this, or I'm going to sit out for this because I've got this like, injury guarantee or this or that. But then you see like what happened with Russell Wilson this year, right? Where they literally benched him because he wouldn't waive as a business decision, because he wouldn't waive this guarantee where he was going to have to get paid all this more money if he got injured, right? And then you got this whole other thing, like at least at the NFL level, that happens where like when a guy is injured, right, and then he's coming back off of like injury, like there's a difference between waiving or cutting a guy injured and then cutting a guy healthy, right, in terms of like what the settlement is and stuff like that, money you owe him. So there's this like the shady thing that happens in the NFL sometimes where it's like they'll try a guy that they want to move on from, that they're trying to like rehab back from injury. They try to get him like back out onto the practice field in practice, because now you have visual film of him being healthy and running around. And so like there's like this thing that plays out sometimes, where like the player's trying to be like, oh no, I'm not healthy or whatever, and the coach, they're like, no, he's healthy, he's cleared or whatever, and they know they want to cut him, but they want to cut him healthy and not have to have the injury settlement. So they want to get him back out on the field, get him on film for one day or whatever, one period or whatever of practice. Okay, he's healthy, and then go cut him like the next day.
Wow,
hell yeah.
So yeah, there's some stuff out there with it, right? And they're like earning, like they don't have the power and they don't have the control, and their earning window is like so small. And there's this like. Yeah, there's the stuff that like narrative that gets pushed out there, like, oh, they make so much money. Oh, like that should be nice. Like I work my job, over here, my 9 to 5, and I'd love to have that. I don't want to hear them whining. Guess what? The only reason you hear them whining is because they stick a microphone in their face, the 22-year-old that's the face of $1 billion franchise, and they get fined if they don't talk. But the head coach talks once a day. The coordinators talk once a week. The position coaches talk once a year, and the owners, who everybody's talking about, oh, the players make so much money. The owner's paying everybody, right? So if the owner's paying everybody and can afford to eat this money, if a guy has to get there, or I got to fire coaches and pay out guaranteed money for him to not work here, how much money are they worth and how much money are they making? And they don't ever have to talk if they don't want to. They talk when they so choose to, right? So it's like,
I've never met a broke, unless you're the Dolans of the Cleveland Guardians. They're broke as fuck. Just them poor bastards.
Hey, but at least we got new seats. At least we got new painted seats.
that don't even match our colors.
Oh,
like they're not even
God.
our
That's
they're not
crazy.
even Cleveland blue. Like I looked, I'm like, that's not even our fucking color. It's like,
You saw all
I
the
was
stuff
like,
out there about their
were these-
like
were these the
700
Sherwin Williams like knockoffs? Like, hey, you fucked up my color. I want $1 million back. Yeah, I guarantee we
saw
won't
the-
reinvest that on the field.
You saw all the stuff out there, right? About the Dodgers paid 2 players $1 billion, and what the Guardians repainted their seats, not their colors, for $3 million.
And paid our backup catcher Austin Hedges $6 million, who batted 180, but he's a good defensive guy.
Wow.
I'm already disgusted. We got one more commercial break. Blake, you got to go. You
I'm
for
good,
our
man.
50? All right, Nerve. We got the Troubadour, right? Or no? We went through it all.
Troubadour was on the last one too.
Shit. All right, never mind. We don't have any more commercial breaks, but I got pissed.
Nope. Well, yeah, I can do this. Go ahead, Blake.
Because I had internet connections. I didn't get to drain the main vein, man. This is
Well, that's
kinda-
fine. That's fine. I'll give you about a minute. I'll give you a minute
All right.
and 15 seconds. Blake,
All right.
coaching wise,
Uh-huh.
how many headsets did you ever bust?
Say it again.
Headsets. How many headsets did you ever break?
How many headsets did I ever break? Hey, G-Dub. Yeah, I got a guest here who probably really. How many headsets did you break?
Yeah.
I'm going to guess probably the over of a dozen.
Jeez,
Maybe.
man.
See, I didn't break any.
None.
I didn't break any because they take that out of our paycheck.
Oh, okay.
When you got FU like money like somebody,
Yeah.
yeah, you can bust them. I was like, me, I had to have my anger management on, so I don't think I ever busted any.
Nice. Because I was gonna say, since we've had Saban and Saban talk, here's Nick Saban on this.
Tell the story.
Yes, please
My
do.
son was about maybe 10 years old, and he was playing junior high basketball. Maybe he was 12, I don't know. I didn't get to go to a lot of games because of recruiting and whatnot, but I happened to go to a game, and he's on a breakaway layup, and the guy fouls him hard into the wall, and he gets up and says something to the guy, and he gets a technical foul. So I have this come to Jesus moment with him when we get home at night, and I'm going to teach him about how to keep his cool and all that kind of stuff. So I give him like a 15-minute, the best speech ever about keeping your cool, don't lose your cool.
No
Have
flubs.
poise, none of that. He sat there and looked at me and listened like so intently. And then he said to me, and how many headsets did you bust this year?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Practice what you preach, right? Coach?
He's probably I think he's probably the all-time greatest headset buster.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you think about it, like in my mind, like growing up or whatever, like that would probably be Nick Saban would probably be the image that's in my mind of the person just rifling the headset into the ground while going undefeated every year.
Yeah, poor bat. Yeah.
Some of those broken headsets are like in the fourth quarter when the freshmen are in playing and they're up 40 points or whatever. But hey, that's what made him great. Like his whole thing was like his mentality was like you do it. There's a standard, and you do it that way all the time. And in his back of his mind as well too, like he'd be sitting there and thinking like, hey, you're thinking, oh, I got this, or I'll get this down the line, or whatever. It don't matter. It's like back in his mind, he's like, I'm playing you because in 2 games, I know this guy is going to the NFL.
Yeah.
And spring ball doesn't tell me crap. Like I want to know right here, right now, and I want to get you to feel right here, right now. Whether you can do it, or whether I need to recruit somebody to replace you before we start the next season.
No.
I played 1 year semi-pro, which means I was in a beer league with no value whatsoever, and we were named after an onomatopoeia, the West Virginia Wham. And our home field was Nick Saban's field in Fairmont, West Virginia. Let's go. Hell yeah. He probably doesn't even know that field's named after him. He probably has no clue. Because I haven't, it's funny, he's from Fairmont, West Virginia, and I lived down there close to Fairmont, West Virginia for like 8 years, and I never saw Nick Saban in Fairmont, West Virginia.
Yeah, he probably doesn't get back there very much anymore.
Nah.
You know what's funny is Fairmont, West Virginia is also the home of Mary Lou Retton, like this little like decent sized town. Mary Lou Retton. We practiced at Mary Lou Retton Park and our home field was Nick Saban Field. So quite a
I
fun
think
little.
I think we should cut up this show and just like make it like the visual Wikipedia.
Visual Wikipedia.
Yeah, it's like like it's like YouTube meets Wikipedia. Because it's just like the wealth of knowledge that has been dropped.
There's a lot going on. I still got this Billy the Kid ugliest bastard over here on my other screen looking at me. All
I didn't
funny.
even hit you with earlier in the show that like when you were talking about palmetto branches and palmetto wood and bugs and whatnot, and you're like, are there any bugs up there? And I was like, you have heard of a palmetto bug before, right? Like,
I did
never
not.
heard of
I lived down. I went to Coastal for a year and a half. I've never heard of the palmetto bug.
Palmetto bug. It's a regional slang for like the Florida wood cockroach, right? It's just a breed of cockroach, but it's called palmetto bug.
Yeah, it is true.
Ew.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, the cockroach can't kill them bastards. Can't do it. Can't do it.
They're everywhere.
Unless you're Damon, he's got so many championships behind his head there. He's probably got something there for a cockroach smashing somewhere.
It's called a bug assault.
Bug assault. Yeah. Fuck them, by the way. Can we talk about that? Yeah. Fuck bug assault. Burying them right now.
Wow,
they have used like 6 of my wife's videos for their own brand. Don't even tag her. Won't even give her a free bug assault. The new revolver came out. Couldn't even give her one. But they keep using our videos like over and over. And I'm like, y'all are a fucking $1 billion company and y'all can't even give us a fucking bug assault?
Okay, yeah. Well, guess what? I'm throwing mine away too. You heard it.
Yep.
Here. I'm throwing mine away
too. I'm getting the slingshot out. I'm going to put some extra big kosher flakes on. I'm just going to start slingshotting fucking flies.
That's right.
Bug assault is dead. No longer allowed to be talked about on this show. It is forbidden.
Okay. Yes. Noted, sir. Noted.
It's decided. It is decided.
We got it.
It has been decided.
In conclusion, fuck you, bug assault.
Mm.
That might be the Minglewood talking. See what happens when you get a little bourbon in me? I start.
Yeah.
I used to get a little Williams in me.
Oh, there you go. Little come get some in you. Little come get some in you.
Hell yeah, I want to get some. Go. I'm going out there on a golf course with you guys this year. Where's your club? Do you have a club?
I do. They're in the back of my car.
Well, no, like do you like play at a club?
Oh no, I mean not
court?
up here. I haven't taken the time to find one up here in the Cleveland area yet.
We're going, dude. I got some places to show you. We're gonna play some around.
I've played golf in and around up here, but I haven't joined a club yet. I need to.
Yeah, there's some really nice courses. What's your favorite? Have you played one that you really like? Sorry, this is like a me and him question. This probably could have been handbagged.
I'll tell you this. I haven't played just a ton, but I think it was just me and my pops. It was on Father's Day a couple of years ago. It was an awesome day, beautiful day, whatever. But we played at the Valley of the Eagle.
Oh yeah, up in Elyria,
which is a Nicholson golf course, whatever, up in Elyria.
Yeah.
And, played like early in the morning. It was beautiful. We had beautiful weather and whatnot. And then like on the 18th hole, you played there, so there's this tree. It's kind of like a dogwood. It's a dog leg right, and there's this tree out there like past the tee boxes or whatever. And we're getting ready to tee off, and 2 bald eagles just like land right in the tree and are just squawking, and whatever and whatnot as we're hitting. And that was probably like my favorite probably experience or round I've played. Yeah,
that's America.
Up here in Ohio.
America all day.
Yeah. No, that I liked that one until you had to hit it over the river to get to the green on par 3s. That sucked.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
But no, it was a beautiful course. And there was that weird par 3 on like we started on the back 9. So like the 10th hole, you had like this little short par 3 with like a little island. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I ain't gonna have time to go to the driving range. I'm supposed to put this thing in like a 50-yard green. I'm like,
no, that we didn't actually get to play that one. We actually didn't get to play that particular one. We played the hole, but we didn't get to play the hole because we had to they had it like where we like hit from the tee box, but like out and towards like this other fairway. in like where they just had like a painted circle, you know, in the middle of that fairway, and we
I
kind of
think
like
that was the ladies' tees, Blake, that you hit from.
no, because that's funny. But that green you're talking about, because like a huge live oak had fallen in like a storm or whatever from because you know it's right up that little island you talked about. That island par 3 green is on the Black River right there, you know, and a big live oak fell in a storm on the green. So they were like rebuilding the green, you know, like or whatever. Because imagine this like 100-year-old live oak just like smashed the green, you know.
Yeah, dude, there's some big fucking trees.
Yeah, there are.
Some
It's
old
beautiful.
dogs. It is. Hey, that Valley of the Eagles was a really nice, awesome clubhouse, cool bar, and everything in there too. No, sorry guys, we went a little. We're back. We're back. Yeah, we're back. I'm just excited. I got maybe a new golfing buddy this summer because my schedule
Me too.
was kind of weird, and like throughout the week, it's hard to find someone to go golfing with sometimes. But I'm ready. I'm ready. You know, business meeting, of course. We'll talk some Lakefront Capital. Okay, I had one I didn't get to when we were talking about Lakefront Capital, and this is for everybody watching. You know, and this is, I guess you could call it free advice. Investing tips for 2024. I know bonds and CDs right now are really safe play because you can get some as high as 6.5% return on 7 months, as little as. So you can play the old safe route, or you can do the S&P 500. So I guess what my question is, to you is, if you were the normal average dude that's on a fixed, you know, living check to check, what are some solid investing tips they can take $50 to $100 of every paycheck and put into something? What would you recommend for people this year? Because it is a little of a wild time to be alive in the finances.
So big picture is this, what I always tell people is like, what are your goals? Like, what are your goals, hopes, and dreams, and what's the time horizon?
Right? Token hooker.
So if there you go. And so there we go. We can now reverse engineer and problem solve for that. And so if you have a long enough time horizon and you have enough diversity, you can pretty much, if you just stick to the discipline, you can pretty much guarantee to get there. You can control the variance and volatility, right? If you're doing something for the short term, you're trying to do something for the short term, then you achieve that as well too, right? If you're trying to achieve massive returns in a short amount of time, which we all know happens, we all see that stuff happen, right? It's gotten way more popularized in the past few years. With that comes massive risk, massive volatility. That's not investing, so to say. Like, you just got to be smart, right? And so it should be about the long term. But you're exactly right. But I would say diversification. What we teach, what we do, is multi-bucket for multi-time frame. Horizon, and then multi-asset class. So what I mean by that is we have buckets, right? Time buckets. We break things up into buckets, right? Cash or light cash things, which right now, because of being a high inflationary environment, is getting high rate of returns, right? You can get like high yield savings accounts, but for 5%, right, or 4.8%, those sort of things where 2021 you're getting 0.3%, 0.3%, or whatever. But you've got your things that you're trying to, like, hey, I may potentially need this money in the next 18 to 24 months, right? You want to keep in cash or cash equivalents, right? Money market, those sort of things and whatnot. Then you have like your middle term buckets, right? And you could put that in then other things like you talked about, bonds, treasuries, whatever, may be, certain different things, right? But that have some level equity. I mean, the stocks, ETFs, whatever you may have, and whatnot. And then you've got long-term things, right? And so like it'd be more, now you're talking about tax advantageous things, your Roth IRAs, your 401ks, your stuff like that you're not going to touch until retirement, but you're putting away towards it. I would always tell people, first of all, take free money, right? If your employer is offering like 401k, some sort of retirement account, and there's some sort of match, minimally, it's wise. If for the reviewers out there that don't know what that means, like it may be one of these things like, hey, your employer offers a 401k, and for the first 3% or for the first $7,000 or whatever, like they'll match, or for the first 3% of your salary, you make $100,000, for the first $3,000 you put in, they'll put in $3,000 as well too, right? That's free money. Like that's extra money that they're giving you that is growing, say like tax deferred, right? And you're building that wealth, right? So take free money and build for your legacy and your retirement. The only other thing I would say right there is, right, like when you were talking about like the investing, like for the short term in the here and the now, I would say like be careful. I would say just be careful, because the country and a lot of the small business owners, a lot of the people out there in various different industries like know this, whatever, like the country's gone through and been through a recession in an inflationary environment. And so much of like the US stock market has not, a lot of, especially like the S&P or some of the bigger companies has not responded, so to say, like to that recession, as if we went through that, right? And so you just got to be like, think of it like a rubber band, right? That's how I like to explain it to people, right? And so it's like, this is stretching down here. You could stretch this way, you could stretch that way, right? Mm-hmm. And so like when things are supposed to be correlated, one of them is going down and the other one's going up, like that's just increasing the stretch. And at some point in time, like there's a pop, there's a correction, right? You may feel that here and now, but again, if we talked about it, like all of that stuff is a moot point 20 years from now, right? You know what I'm saying? Like we're accustomed to like in the here and now in this like snackable content age where we're like, 90, like we can't pay attention, right, to commercials. We want to watch streaming services so we don't have to pay for commercials, all those sort of things. Like in this day and age, we're used to like now, like instant pleasure, instant gratification, right? But if you look at like stock market may be up this year 10%, it may be down 20% in a bear market or whatever. But then like we were talking about earlier in the show, it's like look out 20 years and it's up 200%, right? You know what I mean? And so the discipline of like taking free money, having enough diversification, like so that you can handle that, and having enough time frame. And then like you said, like somebody's got the 50, the $100, the something like that. I mean, just the discipline of just saying, hey, like I'm going to dollar cost average, or I'm going to put it into this thing, the little extra, like every single week out of my check. That's how you kind of handle things over time,
Just to reassure that I'm not, okay, so the average person, let's say you're 30 years old, you're a 30-year-old dude or dudette out there watching. You have your 3% match from your company, so you're putting in your 3%, so 6%. But let's say you put in the $50. You put in $50 every other paycheck for 20 years. I mean, you see results of this more. What does that normally equate to? Because some people are like, man, like if I put in $50, how can that really help me? So let's say you do like $50 over 20 years. Like, what is that? You're going to get the calculator. You're going to get the old Texas Instant. But I guess I want to let people know that
I can do it. Yeah, I'm gonna do basic right here. So you're asking $50.
So it's 26 deposits of $50 a year,
right? So $1,300.
I just want people to know that just $50 a pay can make a big difference. That's what I'm going for here.
Yeah. 1 too many zeros.
Nope. Well, that's my. And hey, that's.
And we would rather have 1 too many zeros than 1 too few. Right?
Well, if you go with Lakefront Capital, you might get that extra zero. Just saying.
So let's say something is as simple as that, like you just talked about right there, and like a regular, just like the S&P, like you said, dollar cost averaging $50 every 2 weeks, biweekly paycheck, $50 every 2 weeks, for 20 years, and say like an average like rate of return of 10%. right? You're gonna go up, you're gonna go down, or whatever. So that's like, yeah, that's $91,000, just under $91,000.
It's not a bad little chunk in the savings account going into retirement. It's not a bad.
No, and that's the law of compounding interest, right? And so that goes back to, like, honestly, like I talk to people a lot, and I used to talk, with our players about this as well too. I used to talk to them. I was teaching them about this beforehand. I was teaching them about this.
Were you the Carl Nassib of the coaches' room?
Yeah, no, hey, Carl, exactly. You know that from Hard Knocks. Carl and I used to joke so much about that. And Carl now, he's an entrepreneur. He's got a big like a tech company, app company, like that he's created, and some other things. He's a brilliant man. Love that dude. Love coaching that dude. But exactly, like that went viral. But that's the law of compounding interest. That goes back to what we were talking about earlier in this show on, like, the old Chinese proverb, like, hey, when's the best time to build an orchard, right? And so I used to, our players, it's funny, like our athletes would intuitively understand it from a technique standpoint. Like they could tap into the fact of, like, they could remember being little league, middle school, high school player, that they couldn't always run and jump as high and run as fast and lift as much as they could. They didn't have, like, this as good a technique as they have now. And they can remember, like, all the work that it put in, like, and just getting that 1% better each day. Right. And so, like, they get it. And so I would teach them about that in their own career of, like, not wasting a day, always put a penny in a penny bank. I would do this thing in our room, and I would do this with them all the time. I would play this thought experiment. I'm sure you guys have heard it before with them. And I said, okay, I'm going to give you 2 different contracts. All you guys are negotiating contracts, right? I'm going to give you 2 different contracts. Both are guaranteed, fully guaranteed contracts. I will give you $1 million right here, right now, today, guaranteed. Or the other one is guaranteed as well too. I have to pay out the entire contract, but I'm going to pay it out over the course of an entire month instead of lump sum today. I'm going to pay you $1 million today, or I'm going to pay you 1 penny on the first day of a standard 30-day month. And I'm going to double it every day. I'm going to pay you 1 penny today. I'm going to pay you 2 pennies on Tuesday. I'm going to pay you 3 pennies on the 3rd day of the month, or 4 pennies. Then the next day, 8 pennies. Next day, 16 pennies, right? 32, 64. Oh, lo and behold, we're getting into the next week. I paid you a whole $1.28 the next Monday. Okay. It's like, which contract would you take, right? And 99.9% of them and all people are probably going to say what?
Now.
I want it now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Give me that $1 million, right? Give me that $1 million. And yet, what is the penny, equate to?
Over what's the period of time?
30 days.
30 cents.
30 days. 1 penny.
I feel like this is like one of those trick questions.
No, 1 penny doubling, right?
Okay.
Doubling.
So then 2, 4.
I ain't good. I got my shoes on. I can't add that.
8. That would be 16, 32 cents, 64 cents. I can't. Yeah, I can't.
$1.20.
$1.28 after the first week.
$2.56. $5.12. $10.24. Yep. So what do you think over the course of the entire month? What does that penny doubling total bank account add up to? Do you think
on the last day?
Yes. Take a wild guess.
Probably be what, 500,000, $500,000 that last day.
The total amount that you would get paid over the course of the entire month, 30 days, 1 penny doubling 30 times, 10 points, a little over 10.7 million.
Damn.
Interesting, because I thought if you double $20, 10 times or 20 times is $1 million. Either way,
but that's that's the law of compounding interest, right? That's the law of compounding interest. If you think about it, it's like 10.7 million, right? But like if I go, I haven't done this before, but I'll reverse engineer it. I'll take it to 29 days. So I'm gonna take 1 day off, right? 1 day off. Now it's 5.3 million, right? Now I'm gonna take it to 28 days, right? 2.6 million. Now I'm gonna take it to 27 days, right? It's 1.3 million. Now I'm going to take it to 26 days, right? It's 670,000, right? So you're at like the 20, and now I'm gonna go to, so like you're at the like 25 days, right? And you've made total combined in those 25 days, $335,000. You're like, I'm sitting pretty, right? And then in those last 5 days, you went from having a pile of money of $335,000 to $10.7 million, right? Because of that. And that's the law of compounding interest, right?
And
that's what I
so,
teach them all the time. Yep, it's time.
So the $50 for 20 years, really, if you could do like 25, you would start like you would probably be sitting there like $150,000, probably in that ballpark.
No
we
doubt.
got Chauncey, fresh from the Matanza, in this piece. How about this?
Hey. I wasn't expecting to come on, man. Blake,
yeah,
I'm so glad you're back, buddy. And it was cool to see Pops on here for a second when I peeped in earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, I missed G-Dub?
Yep, you missed him.
Are you kidding me?
You were on a
lizard.
Yeah, you.
And we were in here talking about. We were in here asking. We were asking G-Dub how many because we were talking about breaking headsets and Nick Saban and everything. Yeah. We asked G-Dub how many headsets he had broken in his career, and he said at least a dozen. And I was telling David, I was like, me zero.
I'm
me zero
right
because
now.
I'm not paying that paycheck for those $1,000, or however much.
Yeah.
Well, Nick Saban,
I'm pissed right. I'm pissed right now, but I'll break something cheaper.
A clipboard.
I'll snap my clipboard.
I'll break a filling. I'll break a filling growing in my teeth, like because it'll be cheaper going to the dentist.
Hell yeah.
Hey, no joke. My water polo coach used to snap his clipboard when he gets so mad with one hand, he just loses it. A drink every time I bring up water polo?
God damn it. Say Matanza. God damn it.
Just so you know, I am at, if we're doing like, what do we call this? Reading. Hey, we've had so many random knowledges tonight. This is called reading the meniscus. Reading the meniscus, right? Like a beaker, right? And so I am definitely
having a great day.
I'm definitely past having a great day right now.
Well, yes. Dude, network. Every day's a good day on PDN.
Great night. Yep.
Great night.
A great night. It's been a great night. I mean,
it has been a great night.
I gotta wake up at 5 o'clock to smoke some ribs, but I don't give a damn. I'm ready. I'm just waking up, and I might just start drinking garage beer tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock.
Tony, what kind of stick it up the Texans rear end meal are you making tomorrow?
A fucking brisket. A whole brisket. I'm going to shove it up the Texans' ass with their own style of brisket. We're going to do it Midwest. Hell yeah. I did a little bit of
fun name for it yet for the style, because I know you always have some shit talking name for the.
I'll give you guys. I'll put me on the big screen here. I'll give you the sampler of. I'll show you the intro.
Ooh, sneak peek. You heard it here first. But hey, Blake, that's why we need you here, buddy.
I have not. I'll tell everybody what my plan is at the end of this thing too.
Texans playoffs. We're going to Texas. Let's make this.
So when it's all nice and tender, I'm gonna hold it up. I'm gonna be like, the Houston Texans defense. Oh look, Joe Flacco. Whoop. Like, oh, Texans secondary.
It's just gonna be falling apart.
In the ribs, it's just gonna be like
super tender, falling
to pieces. A little bit of a pull.
I love it.
Like, oops. I'm gonna be like, oops. I'm gonna say oops after every time. Like, oops.
So is Nombre a is he Cowboys, Texans?
No.
What kind of fan is he?
Dude, it's the most random shit of all time.
You would never think.
Okay,
I'll give you another guess.
Okay, your number one pick for a team that's not in Texas. If you looked at Nombre and had to associate him with the team not in Texas, what would it be?
If he gets it right now, I'll shit my
Think
pants.
Think weird.
Like random.
Like it makes no damn sense.
Right.
Maybe a weird coach.
Miami Dolphins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it. He's a Dolphins fan.
Like a hardcore fan.
Has he always been a Dolphins fan? Always been a Dolphins fan?
Always.
I think he's like from the Marino days.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He's never strayed him. He's been with him when they were sucked. Like he's been with them since the Saban era.
I didn't know if he was going to be. I didn't know if he was going to be on like Suicide Watch tomorrow when Joe Flacco puts it on him, but he doesn't care.
No, Rage and Pillage podcast is going to care a little bit.
Oh, nice.
So honestly, what I'm
probably
fuck
not,
this
dude.
guy. This guy's
Probably
a
not.
bum. Rage and Pillage isn't even
Probably
that good of
not.
a podcast. It's terrible.
I love your rage, but probably not.
Not tonight. Nope. Tonight you're my mortal enemy. So we have like a little side bet going on, me and Burley at Secret.
Hey, so why'd you guys want me to say Matanza?
So I know you get this a lot. Tony. You have to, right? You have to get this a lot, right? The whole like doppelganger, like Kenny Powers, like twin brother, thing, right?
With me? No. Yeah, you know who my doppelganger is?
Oh, dude, Blake,
Kevin James.
damn it, dude,
I get
that's-
Kevin James gets tagged every video that gets out there. Kevin James, is this you, Kevin James? When did Doug Peffernan like become like a barbecue guy? Like, oh man, like when I do
You
the
don't know
$10
his
shopping
life,
videos.
dude.
So true story. When I do the $10 shopping videos and they get like a couple million views, people are like, "Man, tough times for Kevin James. $10 shopping." I'm like, "Man, fuck you, bro."
Hey,
So
I know the
here's
very first time I met Tony, he was giving me some. He was cooking some stuff up for us like at a
trash can nachos.
Yeah, like in a pregame or a pregame party, or whatever, or during game party or whatever, Browns party right over up there, whatever. And I was, doing some social media stuff. I was like, "Tell me what you have." And I was just like, "Yes, some trash can nachos brought to you by Kitty Powers." I was like,
"Oh shit,
dollar
great.
bills, y'all, dollar
Nom-
bills."
Yeah, Nombre Diablo. White Blanco, the Flamo Blanco,
The
white
Flamo
flame.
Blanco.
Hey, fun fact: in the town south of us, spray painted on a fence, it says Nombre.
Nice. You should put "Chut Up" in your other spray paint. Go back to your old days.
I could do it pretty
vandalize
clean.
some shit. Tear some
I
shit
could
up.
do
Set
it-
something on fire.
I could do it pretty clean. Dude, I was just hacking animals all night.
Well, you don't want to set anything on fire?
At the
All right.
Matanza. Yeah, I love setting stuff on fire.
Matanza.
Yep.
I'm glad I'm on water now.
Hey, you guys started it. I wasn't even going to talk about it.
Matanza. Damon's slow, but we'll get there.
Well, I mean, I'm from South Carolina. What do you expect?
Blake don't even chime in. I mean, he's in no contribution to this effort. Less than
I
zero.
didn't even know. I didn't know what kind of war chant we were doing.
Matanza's how you slaughter pigs in California. I mean, it's a holiday.
Okay.
What is
Yeah.
Matanza? Break it down. You throw Matanza, the term, around a lot. Johnsy, what is it? What's its derivative? What's its origination?
It comes from the Azores, over the Portuguese people on the islands in the Azores, and it loosely translates like to the killing, but it's like more like the harvest, where the village together would all get together and every family would slaughter an animal in preparation for the year, and it's like a big hangout. It's really awesome.
That sounds like a badass time, if I can be brutally
Dude.
honest.
Add it to the video. Add it to the video Wikipedia of the night.
Oh wait, trust me. Soon coming on the Dude Network.
Nom?
Fun fact.
Oh shit.
There will be videos of this on the Dude Network coming soon. So
you heard it here first.
There you go, Matanza videos.
All right.
God damn it, Blake.
Nice job, dude. Nice job.
I'm still going for the beer. Damon's down there getting water
I
poisoning.
mean, I'm out of this glass. I'm out of this glass. No, I mean, I'm just having to go.
You
look
got
at
a
all
shelf
of
behind you. Don't act like you're out.
You got Travelers.
It's out. It's downstairs.
Oh, all right.
Wow, that sounds like it
Like
was
a
on purpose.
pretty lame excuse.
The old, I left it downstairs. Yeah, I brought one drink with me trick. Oh,
That's
geez.
right. Actually,
You
I
know,
brought
this
a
is why
drink.
your wide receivers transferred to Ole Miss, Damon.
That's exactly why. Exactly.
He read it. Damon
Roll
probably
Tide.
did not deserve that. He probably did
So
not.
I know who Tony and I are rooting for tomorrow. Like John Z. Damon, like you guys in Super Wild Card Weekend, you guys have any like dogs in the fight
No.
out of the out
Come on,
of the
John Z.
12
Say
teams
it.
that are playing this upcoming weekend?
Say it.
I mean, I'll just go. I'll just go Browns.
100%. I'm going for the Cleveland Browns.
Yes. He's one of
You
us.
said Rams?
He's
You said
one of
Rams?
us.
Oh,
Yeah,
Brownies. Here we go.
I'll go Browns because I mean I don't have a dog in the fight
Oh,
anyway.
Brown.
Yes. Hey, can we
Yes.
talk about my 2002 Cleveland Browns AFC conference
I am.
sweatshirt?
I have
That-
said it so many times and liked Raleigh's stuff, Angry Bounds fan stuff so many times that my Facebook feeds me so much Cleveland Browns stuff. It is ridiculous. And I am so invested in this season and the whole story of everything from when I got the Nick Chubb's shirt and then Nick Chubb's was gone and then everybody else was gone. And then Flacco comes to save the day. It's the craziest story.
You picked a hell of a year to become a Browns fan, John C. I can tell you that.
Let's go.
I mean, okay. Is Joe
Yeah.
Flacco going to cool off at any point in time, Blake? Or is a dude like that that's sleeping on the sidelines just so cool, calm, collected that he's just seen
Yeah.
everything and done everything and wore out all the T-shirts over the years? And I like the family play. They keep saying when he won the Super Bowl in Baltimore, those kids weren't even born yet. So now
No
he's got the
doubt.
whole family involved.
I would say this, like, so there's a difference. Like, he's playing well right now, but he's not hot, right? Like, that's just
He's still throwing a lot of picks.
But I'm just saying that's just who he is, right? Over the last 20 years in the NFL, I'm just telling you like how it is. Like, he's a top 5 or 6 physical arm talent. Right? He's not the athlete that Josh Allen is, but he's a superior arm talent, right? Like, we're not playing the whole like punt, pass, and kick contest, right? We're playing the punt, pass, and kick contest out there and just seeing how far you can throw a ball on the field. Like Joe Flacco and Josh Allen going to be similar, right? Like Joe Flacco, way more accuracy, way more touch, way more whatever, right? Like Josh Allen's like a little bit of like a howitzer mixed with a freaking shotgun. You know what I mean? Like what you're seeing, in my opinion, what you're seeing is my opinion, and I've seen this I've been able to be a part of this with a couple special players. In my time. We're seeing Joe Flacco in a moment in time where his mind, from like what he knows about the game, is elite. His physical talent is still there, right? And so his physical talent is still there, but his mental talent is like at a whole nother level. And then he's also at this like dangerous combination of like grateful for every moment and every day and gives 0 F's. Like he's a combination of he's a combination of being in that happy pace of being grateful. Like I was sitting on my couch. I played for these past couple of years at the freaking Broncos when they were terrible, the Jets when they were terrible. He's still the same player. He's maybe in a better mental state. He's the same player he was in those places. Those places did not have two of the top 5 guards in football, in Joel Bitonio and Wyatt Teller, where he can just step up and climb the pocket. Those places didn't have Amari Cooper, and they didn't have David Njoku, right? Those places didn't have the best offensive line coach in football and a smart head coach and creator who can tailor things to this dude, which is play action passes and throwing like tight window, fearless throws down the field to mismatches. And then he's got a hell of a quarterback coach, offense coordinator, and Alex Van Pelt, right? And then obviously like a legendary defense and stuff like that, right? So it's this perfect kind of storm. But like, yeah, I mean, will the Browns win or lose throughout the whole playoffs? I don't know. Like, I mean, they may win the Super Bowl, they may not. Like, we know that. That's like the coin flip of every game. Is it going to be because of Joe Flacco? Like, where we look up there and we're like, oh, they lost that game specifically because of like one dude. I severely doubt that, right? I severely doubt that, and whatnot. And so it'll be interesting.
We
but
actually have some breaking news in the NFL.
What?
We got some breaking news in the NFL that has started since we've started this show.
No way.
Involves the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh boy, let's go.
AJ Brown deactivated himself from practice today. Has taken all Eagles references off his Instagram and deactivates his Twitter account day before the playoffs. Their top wide receiver will probably not be joining the Philadelphia Eagles. Missed practice today due to knee, but has since canceled all social media affiliation with the Philadelphia Eagles. Wow.
Whoa.
He plays the whole season, mini camp, all the things, gets the playoffs. He's like, nah, don't feel it.
Wow.
So
I mean, Blake.
Yeah, I want to know Blake's take on this.
I mean, Blake. Yeah. I mean, yeah. What? Okay, your head's spinning right now, bro. We're gonna put you on the big screen because you got to break this down. How this makes any sense for anybody?
Whew, I've thought that, and I think a lot of people out there have thought that they are going to clean house and fire Nick Sirianni and everybody after this playoff first loss or whatever, and go after Bill Belichick. Okay, no, go after Bill Belichick. Right, and there's a theory out there, especially by people within the know in the league, that if things don't go well with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys, that both of those two teams in the division will both fire their head coaches to make a run.
They're talking Mike McCarthy's out unless he makes.
I will tell you this. This is very interesting to me. I'm tying all this together in the instant, right?
Right.
It will be interesting to see if this is really all about, and what we thought was maybe about, and what we've thought the smoke that's drifting out there, reading the smoke timbers of us in the know in the profession, may be about the Philadelphia Eagles making a run at Belichick. It will be interesting to see if everything that has happened since Tuesday, if you see where I'm going, is actually they are potentially going to replace that staff, and they are going to go after Mike Vrabel, and they are going to bring in Derrick Henry, and they are going to mend fences with AJ Brown, and Vrabel is going to be the next head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, because AJ Brown's his dude.
You heard it here first.
AJ, all I know is AJ Brown's his dude, and Derrick Henry, like immediately after the game where they knocked they won in Nashville and knocked the Jaguars out.
Farewell speech.
He had them bring him a microphone, and he sat there and did a whole monologue to the fans in the stands saying goodbye to them. Right, so he's like, all right,
he's gone,
and then Vrabel had a one-on-one meeting with the owner where he was like fired at the end of it, but like it was already out there like that he didn't want to be there anyways, and knew either he was a hot commodity and or had his next place lined up behind the scenes. So,
I honestly tried Mike Vrabel to replacing Ryan Day, if I can be honest.
Yeah, I don't see Vrabel going back to. I just don't see Vrabel going to college, especially in its current state and stuff like that and whatnot. I don't see him doing that. But I'm just saying, hey, you heard it first here, and it'll be interesting to see if they get ran up on by Baker Mayfield in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which I was already expecting. I was already predicting Baker and the Bucs to put it on them.
Baker was chucking around with a Copenhagen can in his pocket this week. I noticed the meme that said Bucs by 80.
But it'll be interesting to see if all of this Cold War stuff behind the scenes is that they're trying to get Vrabel and they're going to put. Think about that. Think about Jalen.
He got rid of AJ Brown once before.
No, who? Vrabel? No. The previous GM traded AJ Brown.
But Vrabel was the coach
2 years ago or whatever. And it was caught like the camera on the War Room. Vrabel got up and was just like turned his back from the camera because he didn't want to see the camera like him like motherfucker, and whatnot, and he's kind of.
It was interesting. He would leave then because of if that's the case, if that would happen.
Dude, do you see how stacked the freaking Philadelphia Eagles are? I'm just saying, in the back of my mind right now, when you hit me with all that, like my mind immediately went to like aha of connecting all the dots. And I was like, this could be a like play of if this goes south, they're going to eliminate the current staff or majority of the current staff there. You got to think about this as well too. Matt Patricia, who has taken over like mid-season, right? They replaced the defense coordinator and made Matt Patricia the defensive coordinator. Matt Patricia coached Vrabel at the Patriots as well too. I don't know. I'm just like throwing darts on the wall. I'm like, this could make sense. Could you imagine Jalen Hurts, Derrick Henry, and AJ Brown
with DeAndre Swift still?
With DeAndre Swift, and just like that stacked roster. Be interesting.
I mean, if Sirianni becomes available, I mean, the Charger. You know what's funny is like no one's really linked to. No, John. I'm actually giving him a compliment.
Oh, okay.
I'm surprised there's not more big names linked to the Chargers job. But with you have Justin Herbert, Khalil Mack, and Quentin James, and Derwin James, and Quentin Jammer. No, Quentin Jammer's retired. I think he's way gone. But like like Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, like you got all these and the rumors are there. Left tackle. You got a quarterback, a left tackle, a fucking two captains of your defense, and how we can't get one big name attached to the Chargers job? Like that's in LA. Like goddamn, like that's like got to be one of the most attractive jobs out there, and we haven't heard one big name attached to it. Sorry, I wasn't expecting to get into this world tonight, but here we are.
The rumors are they are dead. The rumors the rumors that they're dead set on Harbaugh.
That makes sense, and they're probably because
I've heard that too.
Harbaugh didn't he quarterback for the Chargers a couple of years post their Super Bowl. Jim Harbaugh played for the Chargers.
He's still got his play. He's still got a house out there. Like he's had so much success out there. His first head coaching job that he had, he's had massive success everywhere he's been. He's one of the best coaches I've ever coached against, right? And I played against him when I was a college player, and his first coaching job was at University of San Diego, and I played against him. I've experienced that. Yes. But it's University of San Diego, he immediately built a winner from a loser. Stanford also in California, right? He immediately built a winner from a loser. And then the San Francisco 49ers, obviously also in California, immediately built a winner from a loser. And then Michigan, he built a winner from a loser. But he spent a majority of his adult life, in California and has his house still out there. It'll be interesting to see. But like I think there's a lot of similarities, except for also having this like big time franchise quarterback. But there's a lot of similarities to the roster at the Chargers right now to the one that he took over at the 49ers, which was a stacked roster that was massively underachieving. And he came in immediately, and then he had Greg Roman as his offensive coordinator, run game coordinator.
And they went to the playoffs.
He had Vic Fangio.
What if Jim Harbaugh goes to the Eagles, man?
Yeah, I don't see
brother over in Baltimore.
I don't see that happening.
So Jim Harbaugh played.
If he has a chance for Cali, he's probably coming home.
The last stop in Harbaugh's career was for the San
Was the
Diego
Chargers.
Chargers from
Okay.
99 to 01. Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
He didn't
That's
play
why
01, but he definitely started 99 and 2000. He definitely started those 2 years.
That's why he started his coaching career at the University of San Diego. I mean, because he was living there. He still has.
It was homage to his dad, who was once upon a time the San Diego. Yeah, because it was John Elway's dad that was the San Jose State coach. So yeah, Harbaugh's dad was the San Diego State coach.
Yes, so they're from out there. He's still got a house in San Diego, which is whatever. I mean, less than 3 hours, from the LA Chargers, place and whatnot. And so, yeah, I think it makes sense. It'll be interesting to see, but.
So where does Pete Carroll end up in your honest opinion then? I mean, God, just don't divulge anything here. Not that you know what are you still okay? So here's the question: you've been out for 3 years. Are you still hip to the rumors mill behind the?
Yeah,
at the water cooler.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, because obviously, like, you still talk to some of them so much, right? Like, a lot of, to a degree, like a lot of them are clients, right? You know what I mean? So you're talking to them constantly. And whatnot. Like, you got to think like Lakefront Capital, right? Think about this, right? I mean, low hanging fruit, just is what it is. But it's like, think about it in the capital finance world, right? Like coaches, think about like most people, like they maybe change professions or employers, like 5-6 times, maybe max, like, or employee, like in their working life, right? But like coaches change teams like on average. Every 2 years, right? So if I coach
I didn't know it was that much. Wow.
So the average coach that coaches 40-year career like they do, like they got 20 at least, or like different 401ks, out there somewhere, right?
Teams have their own individual 401ks. I gotta ask.
So every time, like, right, you have to have some sort of like rollover and consolidation with your financial coach, right? Yeah, but so no, you're constantly still coach. I'm constantly still talking to those people, coaching those people up, right? Like having conversations with those people. A lot of those people still call me up, like, hey, what would you do versus these guys? Like, hey, they're doing this. Like,
that's hella cool, though. Yeah,
strategy was like a large part of my strength, right? Like, I just do it in finance now, right? But like game planning and strategy. So like, hey, they're doing this. Like, what would you do to attack this? And because I coached. I mean, I won a Super Bowl. Won a Super Bowl as an offensive coach for Sean Payton. But I'm known as a defensive coach, right? But I've coached for some of the best offensive coaches in the league too, so I kind of know what both sides think, So you have those conversations as well too throughout the year,
You got the Super Bowl ring on your fingers? Is that what you got rocking over there? Oh, let's see this.
Yeah,
let's go. What
you want to know about this?
Yeah, kind of.
You're already on the big screen.
We got a Super Bowl ring on the big screen. Let's talk about it.
So made by Tiffany's. Drew Brees had a large part in designing this. And you got to think like this was post Katrina, right? And then the Super Bowl, and so post Katrina, only a few years post Katrina, and then the Super Bowl years when the BP oil spill happened, right?
Oh, that's
which decimated our region, right? Like down there in our industry down there in New Orleans. And so there was so much that was built into this. And so like on the face of it right here, like the main face, all right, there's 43 diamonds with the 43rd being like the biggest one right here. And so that was the biggest one is the first Super Bowl championship. It symbolizes that. And the overall 43 diamonds where it was the 43rd year of the franchise and the 43rd year being the first one. Over here on the side right here, there's 16 diamonds. That's because we won a franchise record 16 games that season. And then right here, all right, is 45 around right here because it was around this edge because it was Super Bowl 45. And then this panel right here is the Super Bowl panel, right? Saints versus Colts, 31-17, and everything, and the emblem and the date. This panel right here is the tribute to New Orleans panel. And let me get it close. So let me get it close enough. So that thing that looks like a So there's the Superdome right there.
Right.
This is a Mardi Gras parade with the Super Bowl trophy.
Okay.
So we won the Super Bowl right there right before the start of Mardi Gras.
Yeah,
so they had all the huge Mardi Gras floats already built at Mardi Gras World, and so they just gave us the floats, and we had our Super Bowl parade on the floats. And the Super Bowl parade was supposed to take 2 hours. It took
7.
It took like 8-9 hours, and we were so
Were
messed up.
you drinking during that parade?
I was drinking heavily during the parade, in part because of this. So my float was the very last float in the parade. And Jeremy Shockey was our crazy tight end, and he had paid some
baby.
Hey, he had paid some like street people, right, to like go buy him some handles of Jack Daniels and some pizzas. Right, because he was like hungry and wants. So by the time they ran on foot to like go buy this, right? And so by the time they get running back and they're running up, they're like, they're like dying, sweating, whatever, just like these random people. And they're like, no, he's gone. And we were on my float. We were like, hey, we'll take it. We like tossed them like $200 bills or whatever. Took the pizzas. Took the 2 handles of Jack Daniels, dude.
Let's go.
Dude, we had like million, like we probably had literally like on my float alone, 1 million Mardi Gras beads. Like we had boxes of Mardi Gras beads. And when we were going through the parade through downtown New Orleans, I-10, the biggest road in the country, is on stilts, right? It's like it's an I-10 runs 3 stories high through downtown New Orleans, right? It was a parking lot. All the people that couldn't get into the parade had just parked on I-10. I wake up the next day with a hangover, but I also am like, I feel like my arm is dislocated, and I'm like, what? Why is that? And then it finally, I've got big old bruises on my bicep right here, like I tore my bicep. And then finally, I realized I was like, it's because I drunkenly like crow hopped and was like throwing like a handful like of beads up like 3 stories high up on the I-10 to people for like 8 hours, and I threw my arm out, but I couldn't feel it.
Yes,
dude. But
and you do it again.
Also, right here, though, that like the thing that like is behind everything, the like right underneath my name, Williams. That is actually the first line of notes from when the Saints go marching in.
Oh, okay.
And then that thing that looks like a church is actually Jackson Square. That's the St. Louis Cathedral there in Jackson Square in the Superdome. And then on the inside, right here, the inside right here is we had 3 speakers speak to us in preseason, and they gave 3 epic speeches. One, John Gruden. Avery, the head coach he was the head coach of the NBA team, the Pelicans at the time.
Avery Johnson.
Avery Johnson, who's good friends of ours. John Gruden, who's a good friends, and it was his first year fired and out from the Buccaneers, and he's great. He was like best friends with Sean Payton, and then Drew Brees, our quarterback, right? And the mantra and the message of those was finish, be special, and smell greatness. And so then, and then we all suddenly we go 13-0 to start the year, the whole thing, and then we got a first round bye, and so we had 3 playoff games, and all 3 of those speakers came back and gave like impromptu 2.0 versions of their speech before each of the 3 playoff games. Like, see, I told you, you've done exactly that, and you're going to go do that again tomorrow, right? These bats up here actually. That's a couple of the bats. That's the purple one is from the NFC Championship game against the Vikings. The blue one up top was from the Super Bowl right there. So so those 3 mantras are in there, and the score of the other two playoff games are in there. So I think it's cool. Like a lot of the Super Bowl rings are like, some of them can be like big and gaudy, but like this was an epic and special season, and they put like a lot of like symbolism and like, stuff into it, and so it was pretty cool thing.
Yeah,
I got to hold. It's funny. There's a Super Bowl ring that I got to hold, and it was when God, the year Peyton Manning got in the Super Hall of Fame when they had the double class, there was a dude that was from like Wageneeta Christian College that was for the Cowboys that got in, and it was like from some like small ass school in Louisiana that's not even a school anymore. But he had all his Cowboys guys there, and from it was like the Rodgers Staubach. It was like the guy's Rodgers backup quarterback, and I got to meet, and it was like 6-7 diamonds, and it was still cool. So like from that to what they do now, like the ring, like I feel like it's just a dick measuring contest at this point on your Super
Totally
Bowl.
is. It totally is. I mean, you see them now, like the thing that's in vogue now, right? That they do now, and a couple of them is the last two or so. The face comes off, and the inside of like the face is like magnetic essentially, and it comes off. And the inside of the ring is the stadium of their stadium, right? You know what I mean?
I mean, that's cool.
It's funny.
It's
Like
really
a couple
cool.
of guys have lost, like though, like
That's
the
what I'm
face-
saying. Until you lose the fucking magnetic top, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, last question for you, Blake. We got to wrap this up because, goddamn, this is going way too long. I mean, I guess it's really fun. Okay, you traveled all around, did all kinds of coaching jobs. Best city of food, the best city food scene that you got to coach in.
That's not even a competition. I mean, in my
Okay,
opinion,
I mean, I love it. Let's go.
It's New Orleans, bar none, right? Like New Orleans, bar none. I mean, it's a food mecca, right? Like if you
I want to go eat there so bad.
a chain cannot literally, like in New Orleans proper, like chains cannot survive, right? Like there may be like one or two like McDonald's or Wendy's that can kind of like exist somewhere in like on St. Charles or something like that or whatever. But yeah, like chains don't even try, right? Like you could say like my wife and I met at a bar on Bourbon Street, like literally, sort of thing.
Awesome.
I was living in the French Quarter. She was living in off of St. Charles in the Garden District, and we were just dating at the time during my time coaching there / engaged. But what we used to do is like we used to take a Crown Royal bag, right? Empty Crown Royal bag, and we would take like at the start of the off season usually. Sometimes we would continue through the season, but we would take at least like have 100 slips of paper in there, right? And we would just write like a different name of a restaurant on there, right? And throw it in there so that like we had our repeats that we would go to and whatnot, but we knew like the place we were living in. We're like, if we just do that constantly, we're not going to get experience all the other things. So we just have those random nights. Like we didn't have kids, we didn't have any of those sort of things, right? And you're living down there, and so we're like, hey, what are we going to do tonight? And or where we're going to go eat tonight. We just reach into the bag and pull out a place. We're like, we're going to here.
I love it. I love it.
Every one of those places are just like 5-star, would be the best restaurant in most like major metropolises. So like, I mean, obviously like LA's good, like New York City's good, right? So like other places like I've been and lived, but like in terms of just like food mecca, in my opinion, like New Orleans, like is what it's about. Like you can walk to, and it can be hole in the wall, right? Like Port of Call, one of the most famous burgers in the world, is just this hole in the wall, a true hole in the wall little joint right there. It was a block down from where I lived in the French Quarter, but there'd be a lot of times there'd just be a line out the door, 200 people deep, right? And they make the best burger probably in the world, and they make it just amazing. And it's just amazing. And it's big old like 1 pound patty. They'll take like damn near like the package, like the package of like a grated cheese that you get at the store or whatever, right?
It's
a 1 pound package. Like obviously this is fresh grated cheese, but they'll like, instead of putting like normal just like cheese on it, like slice of cheese on it or whatever, they'll put basically damn near like a whole pound or half pound or whatever of grated fresh shredded cheese on it, the whole bun. Like you're not getting fries, you're getting a full on baked potato like loaded or whatever with it as your side, and then they'll like we've all heard of hurricanes down there, right? Like their thing is the monsoon, right? So like like the monsoon, but yeah, so like everywhere down there, like in New Orleans, I mean, you could just literally walk a block and hit freaking 10 or 5, or 4, like 5-star restaurants.
Dude, you're making me want to go down to. I know I need to get down there.
Have you done the New Orleans food experience?
I have never been farther. I mean, I've been to Florida. I went over to Tallahassee once. Panama City. Sorry, Panama City.
We need to go.
And that's about
I've got so many friends in like the restaurant and like food industry down there. Like we need to go do a dude network episode, like from New Orleans, just like
twist
food.
my arm. Oh God,
Food
Blake,
Mecca.
supernatural, making me want to do such awesome things.
It would be epic. We could do it.
We could. Hey, anything's possible this year. We're
Tour.
getting these dude trips. When Johnsy moves out from California, a lot of things become more possible. Like
that's like the Vauqueray, right? Like the French 75, the Vauqueray were like all like invented down there, right? The sidecar. The Vauqueray literally means old square. So like the original name of the French Quarter was the Vauqueray. Like that, so they called it the French Quarter because when the Americans did the Louisiana Purchase and took over, like now it was America. So the French
was
so the French were still down there in that little hub down by the Mississippi River, and it eventually in America became called the French Quarter, right? Yeah. But like they called it the Vauqueray, which meant the old square, and whatnot. And so the Vauqueray drink, the Sazerac bar, like so Sazerac, right?
Yeah, Sazerac from New Orleans.
That comes from the Sazerac drink and Sazerac rye, but like that the name comes like there's a bar, a famous bar in the Roosevelt Hotel there. It's like a gilded bar, like, and it's like the oldest running bar in the New World was like 2 blocks from my house. It's Saint Lafitte's blacksmith shop, right? So the famous pirate.
Oh, yeah,
John Lafitte. It was John Lafitte, and the famous pirate John Lafitte, and he and his brother. It was their blacksmith shop and grog bar, right? And it's been a bar that's been running continuously since like the early 1600s. Yep.
Wow.
Blake,
trust me, I spent a lot of nights there getting my last drink on the way walking back to my condo as the sun's coming up, like drunkenly playing the oversized grand piano in the establishment.
I am writing down.
We need this guy on the show more often. He knows way
too much. His idea of having a Dude Network Wikipedia episode is
right.
I literally just wrote down show idea
or a trivia episode, right?
Dude Network Wednesday Wikipedia.
Wednesday Wiki.
I've been talking with Blake I've been bugging Blake because I know him and I would make a killer podcast, man, and we're close enough to where we can make it happen. I think a useless knowledge podcast would be killer.
Dude,
over bourbon. Oh man, Blake, I've been rehashing. In my head. I've been rehashing my proposal I texted you yesterday.
Or like, or even like they have the like fun like trivia nights at like bars or whatever. You could have like Dude Network and the audience somehow, some way, in a like form up teams, pick teams, whatever. Have Wednesday trivia night or whatever. Like,
dude, I'm about it. I am about it.
We can make it happen. Scheming. I mean,
right.
It's
like a business
genius.
meeting right now.
That's right.
Yeah. We're just live business
Yeah,
meeting.
live
Let's do it.
Live business meeting. Everybody needs to go back. It's like when the Eagles hire Vrabel, and we do a show in New Orleans, and all of a sudden we start having trivia nights. Like we can pull this Nostradamus episode up, and we can be like, see,
told
this
you.
Is when we predicted the future.
Right.
Oh man.
And when the Browns put it on the Texans tomorrow to the tune of 42-17.
Oh my.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh my.
42-17. Then we can come back here and say it.
Okay.
There it is.
Hey, it's circled. I got 42-17 written down. Let's fucking do it.
I asked
I'm
that
down.
earlier. What was his playoff prediction? So there we go.
I don't know what mine is, man. Like, I am such a scared Browns fan. We're not used to this situation of on the road as a favorite. Like, we're not used to this situation. We are not. Blake, Jim Schwartz going to figure it out tomorrow, man. He's coaching for a job tomorrow, right?
He's coaching for a win tomorrow, right? Like, I've known Jim since I was 8 years old.
I know
right?
he wants to win, but how big is a win tomorrow looking on his job resume this offseason?
I promise you, Jim is not thinking about that whatsoever, right? Like, his resume is what he's done his entire career and then what he's done again this year. I personally think if we're like continuing to get in the Nostradamus thing, that we got to watch out for if anywhere, Jim Schwartz potentially being the next head coach of the Tennessee Titans. But yeah, I mean, he's not worried about that. There's fans out there that are worried about CJ Stroud. Like, CJ Stroud may have a great game, he may not, but like, come on, like, you got to be kidding me. And CJ Stroud's had a great year. I'll go back to my old country grandpa, right? So I don't want to write a check with my mouth that my ass can't cash. He'd always tell me that, like, boy, like he'd say, like, be careful, don't write a check with your mouth that your ass can't cash, and don't bite off more than you can chew. But so I don't want to wish that juju. Don't you wish that juju on me, Ricky Bobby? Don't you wish that evil on me, Ricky?
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky.
Don't put that evil on me. But
got it round to me.
CJ Stroud's had an awesome year, this year. It hasn't been against Jim Schwartz. It hasn't been against Brian Flores. It hasn't been against Brian Flores. It hasn't been against a couple of like the real defensive coordinators in the league that are not going to let a rookie quarterback feel comfortable in understand and know what he's seeing. You know what I mean? And so there's going to be things he's never seen before, disguises and stuff like that. Yes, they're going to try to plan for that before. I think their rookie offensive coordinator has done an awesome job down there this year. But I think Schwartz and the defense are going to throw things that neither of them are prepared for, neither of them have seen. And when you do that against people that haven't seen that before, right? And so like they don't have a plan for it, and they don't and they have an overconfidence in what they are seeing or not seeing, if that makes sense. Yeah. Then some bad things can happen sometimes, right? Like, I go back to this, not to derail. I'll tell you one more story about this. This is how I'd explain it. So my pops is a young coach, still a young coach, but in the league, he's coaching for Buddy Ryan. Buddy Ryan's the defensive coordinator for the Houston Oilers, right? And they're playing against the Kansas City Chiefs at home in the playoffs. And they've been doing, and obviously the Buddy Ryan scheme and all these trick coverages and all these things that they're doing, and they're doing something that they've set up this play. They've set up this play with this film, but they haven't ran this play that they're getting ready to run, up until this game. And it's a divisional round of the playoffs. The Kansas City Chiefs are playing at the Houston Oilers. And they have it perfectly timed, and they run this blitz, and my father this was back before the headsets, right? So my dad was the person that had to listen to Buddy call the play, and then my dad would hand signal it into the players, right? So he hand signaled in the players, right? And so they do it. They run this play. He's getting all excited before the play. He's like, oh, I see what they're getting ready to do. We're going to beat this protection. It's going to make the quarterback throw this hot over here, and we're trick trapping the hot that we're forcing him to throw. All right, and so we're going to pick this and like take it to the house. And the quarterback takes the ball and he goes like this, and he sees the hot coming. He sees the trap coverage that showed this and didn't move until the snap. And he went like this around the blitzer, and he just skipped the ball, boom, right there. And he purposely skipped the ball behind the butt of the receiver, like they were supposed to catch the hot, because if he'd have thrown it really to him, it'd be getting picked off. But in reality, off the old Astrodome turf, he skipped it one skip in order to land in the hands of the coach that just signaled the play in, the young coach who just signaled the play in, which is my dad. So he purposely, he didn't want to get intentional grounding, and he saw the trap coming and wasn't going to throw the interception, and he skipped it off the Astrodome turf purposely, right perfectly into my dad's hands, and he went like this. And he smirked at him, and he went like this. He smirked at him, and he went like that at him. And I was there at the game. My dad's like, never forgot that. The quarterback was Joe Montana.
Holy
and
shit.
So the difference being there was, he's like, bro. So this was after Joe Montana got thrown away to the Kansas City Chiefs, and he was like, bro, great play, but been there, seen that, and like, you're not going to trick me into it, whatever. I'm just going to throw this ball away in such a way that I'm not going to get a intentional grounding or an interception and like checkmate, and I'm going to go torch you the next play,
Right.
And so you can catch the less experienced dudes sometimes, you know what I mean? The more experienced dudes, people don't realize sometimes, it's like those are game deciding plays like that the dude out there with the ball in his hand is making, because he's seen it all, and he has a plan for like worst case scenario, not just freezing, because I've only ever repped this in the perfect situation. Right. But like coaches have never repped me on like, what is your oh shit response going to be? Right. And the OGs, like we've seen it with Joe Flacco already. It's like, I have an oh shit response, you know what I mean? And I don't think that CJ Stroud doesn't in that team, I would suspect doesn't have an oh shit response,
Yeah, he couldn't.
But we'll see.
He couldn't beat Jim Harbaugh. So come on.
We'll see.
Yeah, come on. 0-2 against Michigan. Just say it. 0-2. 0-2. Big games, choke artist. Choker.
Call it here.
You heard it here first. All right, we got to wrap this up. We can keep talking after this if we want, and I'm down for it. But for everybody watching tonight, again, the hashtag was George Strait, the greatest American country singer in the history of America. Probably of all time in the history of ever, in any place. Because if you hate George Strait, you fucking hate freedom. That's a fact. Hashtag George Strait to win a 5-pack of Troubadour Spice Blends. Congratulations to Eduardo Barbecue for winning the first 5-pack last week. Get a hold of me. Let me know what 5 spices you want. We'll get those ordered over your way. And in the meantime, thank you, Blake, dude.
Yeah, for real.
We went way longer than we were supposed to or ever do for a reason. NFL playoffs tomorrow. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy it with your time. Enjoy with your family, your friends. I'm trying not to let these hiccups that suddenly came in this extra outro kick my ass here, but they are currently doing so. But I think I'm back. All right, so everybody, again, Garage Beer, thank you. Minglewood Distillery, thank you. Troubadour Spice Blends, thank you. Other places like Meathead Charcoal, coming up soon. Right. Shout out. You heard it here first. If you lasted this long, you got that little sneak peek of our new partner for the rest. So, everybody, including Blake, John Z, glad you got to hop on and make it.
Yeah, thanks for letting me jump in, guys.
Yeah, Lakefront Capital. If you don't know what the hell you're doing with money, let Blake figure it out for you. He's got a big old brain. Yeah. That Wikipedia brain came out strong tonight. Right. So it will be strong for your finances as well. 30% returns or your money back plus interest. His words, not mine. And we will talk to you guys Sunday. Another foodie show. Who you guys got?
God, Leprechaun TV.
Leprechaun TV.
Leprechaun TV. I should have known that. Cleveland guy. He's going to be happy because we're going to be celebrating a big old playoff victory tomorrow over the hapless, worthless, pieces of shit, trash can banging Houston Texans. Until next time, we'll see you next time. Let's go.